Okay. What's up, Tay? How you doing, man? The bald boys are back in town, as you can clearly see. Oh gosh, Tay is right. If this was the 33rd stream, then it would have been amazing. Can we stall for 3 more? No, we absolutely cannot, and should not. As you all may recall, pick up all the remaining tints. Yeah, if there's time, we might as well shoot for that. We defeated Simon yesterday. It was quite the solid win. And apparently the remains of his chroma can be rematched if you ever decide you want to explode once again. That's a very exceptionally unique case. So, our goals today are to just basically, as far as I know, it's to just basically get the remaining trophies. The first stop should be, well, like Dan just said, the last White Neveron, which is for whatever reason not required for that, the quest of helping all the White Neverons. I guess he doesn't count because he's a unique situation.
Flashing through the sky. Flashing through the sky.
Yeah, I believe it was all the way back, way at the very start. It's the Avist Cave.
Flashing through the sky.
Aha. Behold. Here. Must minds created by man be considered false? Now, yeah, you see foreshadowing with this. Many have pondered this question. Most have understood its complexity. But alas, not all. Long they thought the answer obvious. The more they pondered, the more it consumed them whole.
What is this? A cryptic story dispenser.
Haha,
Actually, I found it quite interesting.
that's your story dispenser.
Could we try it again?
Ah, Jazz. Good to see you. Glad you're here. You're just in time to see me throw more money into a fountain. Grief is not a burden that needs to be carried alone. Still, it has broken the minds of many, with profound consequences. You see, this guy's just laying out the whole story for us. The last time it began to speak. That's what it does every time. And Naomi. Yes, she has work today, but she will be here both in spirit and in chat form. The beautiful painting, tainted by suffering. See, they even revealed that this is a painting. Would that they could go back to those days. In the face of countless trials, families reunite, and they overcome. Man, seeing this at the very end of the game instead of the beginning is quite an experience. All this chroma has been rather energizing. Hoppa! Haha! Aiding the enemy! I've caught you red-handed, Squidward. Thanks to you, I awakened from my slumber. Did my tales interest you this much? I'm afraid I have no more to share, but you can have this. Recovery.
Great.
Recovers
Wow.
10% health on turn start. That's not that bad. And a level 21 at the very beginning of the game would be pretty sweet. Taking on more of my rambling. I apologize, I do not have any more tales to tell. How are you hiding here? I am different. My presence on the continent was deemed an offense by those who have already claimed these territories. And to give up on my travels, and then found this resting place. You know the rest. This one is the most articulate one we've encountered. Reflection and meditation have brought me to an answer. I shall live on and have my own tale about my own trials and tribulations. Attack! Yeah, strangely, you are not required for the one quest of helping all of the White Neverons, but you are required for the trophy of helping all the White Neverons. Rather odd. Yes, remaining achievements, Ciel, level 99, and what else? That's not right. 52 out of 56, so there's only 3 left. Yeah, you just need to help the majority of them, apparently. Not helping all, but like helping most and not killing any. I wonder why they didn't just make it all. Like, what is the exact cutoff? Yeah, that's the CL one. Oh, now the pictures are loaded. That's funny. Oh yeah, the journals. Ah, the journals! Well, that's the last one I'm doing. That will be the very last thing, is picking up that journal. So we need to do the CL one and the get to level 99 one. The level 99 one is the one that's going to take the longest. The CL one, really, we could do that instantly, provided we, if we find an enemy strong enough that we can just get her into Twilight and then put 24 Tell on them, then we should be okay. Really, I don't have a lot of things that even put foretell. That's my problem. Marking card only applies 3. I guess I could just spam marking card over and over, but... Final Path just does a flat 10, which is pretty good. Gradient 1 applies 10. Okay, that's good to know then. No, I'm not on my way to the grand opening ceremony. Don't know what made you think of that. If you super buff Mael, go to run more drafts and keep obliterating the merchant, I'll get to it in a few minutes. A few minutes? I don't know about a few minutes, but... Even, like, at the speed we were taking things out, even with a super buffed... Mael. Okay, a super buffed Mael could wipe them out in a single turn, but... I still think it would probably take a little while. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but... Phantom Strikes. Yeah, Phantom Strikes is really strong, especially if I make her a solo fighter and everything. Verso is pretty fast, too. That much I know. And Verso in this outfit. Oh, Phantom Stars of Simon's hits twice now. You're right, it does. It starts out maxed. Why is everyone bald? Because it's fun. Also because Walter White is very significant to our lore, therefore everyone needs to be bald. Even Minoka can do it with the same Lumina buffs and earthquakes. Volta. Okay, so first things first, let's get that CL one. We just need to find something strong enough to just crash into. I wish we could fight you guys, but for some reasons we can't fight them. Now I wonder, what are these? Are these Nevrons? Because if they're Nevrons, they should be attacking us, right? I mean, if they're anything, they should probably be attacking us. Unless they were something that OG Verso made. That would explain why they're docile. Wait, is there any lore on these? We've already killed all the super tough enemies, though, so is there anything left I can even throw myself against that would be able to stand... I mean, Ciel's attacks aren't that strong. If I just skip everyone else's turns, we wouldn't have to worry about killing anything, really, but... Realistically, if I go back to the drafts, there's stuff that's strong enough in there. Plus, I want to go to the drafts anyway to get to level 99. Just gotta remember where it is.
Here we go. Tight.
Yeah, the drafts has the consistently powerful enough enemies that even us at a really high level can still take them out. But not too fast, you know. By the way, only have one part left to make of your Shadow Showdown. Awesome. Next up is SpongeBob, Creature from the Krusty Krab, an excellent choice. And I saw a little bit of one of the videos. I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually watch one fully, but I will say something I've noticed is that all the videos are uploaded in portrait and not landscape. I was just curious if there was a reason for that. Because like the gameplay is in landscape, but then it's got the black borders around the top and bottom. This guy we could probably take on. Oh, the multiplier is still on. What am I saying? Of course it is. Why would I ever turn it off? But let's start with a marking card. Because he hits twice, that's 6. And then you can go again, so let's mark you again. That's a 10. Sweet. Now once we get her into Twilight, then we'll be good to go. Oh. Yeah, bad at making thumbnails, so YouTube auto-generate them, and that's not a problem. I used auto-generated thumbnails in my first years on YouTube as well. Although that was partially because you weren't allowed to make custom thumbnails until you got like a verified account, but oh gosh, this sword is so cool. I can't believe Verso is literally invincible now. He can't die. As long as I get him to S rank and keep him there, he cannot be killed.
Let's spill some ink.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really care about doing much else.
Everything.
We just need to get CL into her Twilight state. Unless this guy kills CL, which would suck. But Blight or no Blight, we'll be fine. Yeah, exactly, Dan. I don't even need to win. Just apply the 24 tail and consume it. Which, I would just have to go into... I could just use Sealed Fate to get us into, although, yeah, Sealed Fate, it does consume the foretell. That's the problem, though. Is getting it to 20... I mean, it wouldn't be that hard, because, it won't be hard, but, I mean... I can hope that Sealed Fate doesn't just... Well, no. I can just use it on the other guy who doesn't have any, and then get the remaining 10 after getting into Twilight.
You're
We're in Twilight, and that put him at 16. Beautiful. So now I just need to... Basically, I can hit him with a marking card again, and that should be around it. Given her intervention or any non-attacking wound skill? Yeah, probably, but... Unpopular opinion, Nick Tim's Battle for Volcano Island is too short, boring, and overrated. I mean, I've never heard people talk about Volcano Island, so I'm not sure how rated it even is. Be safe. I'm gonna hit random enemies. But still got it to 20. We're good. On her next go, then she can finish it. And I will skip your turns because. Oh wait, you're still alive. I'll just skip your turns because I don't want you. Well, I mean, I don't have to skip. We could still go for some damage. We just have to make sure we don't kill him, is the thing. The worldly emulated dolphins that have to have beaten a game before making a playthrough of it. That sounds like a self-imposed rule, but...
Finesse and grace. On me.
For a second, I was worried the counter would do like 5 million damage and just wipe me. Okay, so now Twilight Dance will consume all foretell to deal additional damage, so let's have it. And Maximilian. Maximilian Pegasus, let's go. 6.9 mil, that's not bad at all. Boom. Ouchies. Noise. Yes, I see what you mean, Tay. That if you want to get through it quickly, it helps to have already beaten it before. So you can just keep things moving without having to run around not knowing what to do. And there is a certain vibe to playing. No, like the classic style Let's Play is one of, I never picked that up, is one of a game you've already played, you know? Wanting to share like an experience that you enjoyed with others. I haven't done one of those in a while. Like, I know I had technically played, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but I had been years and only played it once. Verso, why are you walking around in the circle? Verso, what are you doing? Verso? Why is he circling me? Why is he circling me? He's like, I've got my eyes on you, Sal. He's doing the shark maneuver. I don't... Verso, I don't understand you. If only that wasn't at the corner of the screen with a logo in the way. There's blood in the water. Verso can smell it. But Ciel doesn't even care. Is he still doing it? No, he stopped. No, he was still doing it. Dang it, he was still doing it, man. No, keep doing it, Verso, keep doing it. Aw. Yeah, his pathing seems to have gotten derped out. Okay, Mael, I already have Solo Fighter on you, which is basically the only thing I needed, but... Because it's, yeah, Solo Fighter... Last Stand critical is always good, because then we'll just have a 100% critical chance. First offensive could be good for this. Take off teamwork. I mean, yeah, teamwork's not going to help us, but it's not going to hurt us either, like, technically. But I could use those points for something better. Like Immaculate. Like if I put on First Offensive and Immaculate, that's an 80% damage buff. Aw, Immaculate takes 10. Too shy. Monoko with Sakapade Fire might be better than Mael, not gonna lie. You really think so? I mean, Monoko, with my build when I use him, he only ever does like a max of like 1.5 million, which is good, but it's not enough for our purposes here, I don't think. Oh, that's right, there's also Empowering Last Stand, which will just give us powerful. I don't need this right now. There. Yes, I do need to kill 3 enemies. But a solid Phantom Strike, because it hits everybody, might do enough damage to just wipe them all out, especially with her being buffed. It's worth a shot. I could always go for Verso instead. I know Verso can do it. I've already proven that. And really, Verso Male are the only real choices anyway, because they're level 94. They're 3 ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Nowhere near enough. I know I can go twice, but that's still not gonna cut it. Maybe those were bad rolls. I don't know. Maybe Verso's the more consistent option. Oh, that's right. The modifiers in difficulty. Thank you, Jazz. That would help too. Maybe I can still win. Probably not, but we'll try. We'll try. Oh!
Let's dance. For me.
Hey, you can't do both. You dickwad. Yeah.
Oh, don't bunny. Oh, look.
There. And voila. Yeah, it's still apparent that out of all of the remaining challenges, getting to level 9 and then will take the longest. Not because it's going to take like a super long time, but because the other things take like 10 seconds each to do. And I know Jazz suggested that me and Naomi watch like a recap video she sent for Hollow Knight. So there'll most definitely be time for that probably. I mean, I know she's not here, but maybe if she's watching the stream at the time, then she can still see it. Who knows? I wish I could try to at least mark some of them. I mean, I can try, but there's no guarantee it would work. I only get 2 shots at it, so. That wasn't even perfect, and I still almost got him. Go again. Oh, so close. Wait, how did you still play immediately? You know what? Whatever. Finish it. Bam!
Oh, don't bunny.
That's true. She could always watch the VOD. It's an option. Yes, Moss Bag. Oh, because I outsped him. Yeah, that makes sense. That badly, huh?
For annihilation.
Perfect!
Blades shut.
Okay. shouldn't have done that. I might still do it! Oh, just barely didn't make it. But the burn will finish you off. Either way, there's no way for us to really lose. So it's gonna be quite funny. Early enemies can have more attacks than boss. What? Cray cray.
Let's spill some.
What?
Grace.
What was that? It barely did anything. That was not slowly. That's not literally Dark Souls 1 in the Sekiro. Really? Wow. Man, the damage variation is gonna be fierce. I might... Maybe I should have gone with Verso. I guess it's not too late. See, that's more like it.
Last chance.
Forget doing all of that. Just go last chance. Go again. And finish him. As long as my first attack kills the other two, then it's a guaranteed win at that point. Ooh, got the mark, baby. On you, but that's okay. Wait, the one that was marked is the one that didn't die. I find that quite humorous. Look at how weak that attack is. Oh well, since he wastes a turn doing that, we can just finish him anyway. Yeah, that's 95. It's crazy that it gives you Color of Lumina every time you beat him. I mean, you could get infinite of them if you just keep fighting him. Ah, I got it. Oh man, yeah, they went down without a sound.
Last chance.
You guys around the plaza do too? The guys around the plaza aren't a bad option either. This one's nice though because you don't have to, you know, you don't have to run around or anything. You don't have to reset at the flag. You can just pop right back in. Did I ever beat the boss in Old Lumiere that was a giant dance with the black hole behind her? Yes, I'm fairly sure I did. I'm like almost positive. If we knew what she dropped, I could check if I had it. Whoa! Maybe I've been going about this the wrong way. Or not. I don't know how I just did that insane amount of damage right now, but... That is how much I can roll? Are you serious?
Last chance. I'm ready.
Oh, I used one too many. Oh! Okay. Yeah, that was insane. I did 1,000,000 damage in one single free aim shot. Oh, you can just kill her summons infinitely. Right, that would be a good way to build up the experience. You can give Mael energizing shots to have her be able to machine gun like Verso. Oh, that's true. That's not a specifically Verso thing. Honestly, Mael with energizing shots sounds quite dangerous. It's 20% chance to gain 1 AP on a free aim shot. Yes. The above. Yeah, she spawns mini-boss enemies, so if you kill her summons, you get 5 Lumina each, and you can keep spamming that. Oh, that's what you were saying. Really? Wow, that would build up really quick. I don't know if she's still alive, but I think we beat her, but... I'm fairly sure I've beaten her, but I don't know what weapon she drops. I did, yeah. I figured. I have a distinct memory of beating her, but... Oh, it's the dance one. That's right. There's 1 perfection per burn on target. Well, that would be a quick way to get to rank S. Honestly, given the damage her free aim shots can do, going just for a full free aim at the beginning is not the worst idea. Oh man, that was bad luck on that though. All 9, well there was more than 9, all of those only did as much damage as that one lucky roll did. Now we're not virtuous anymore. So maybe this isn't the best strategy, because if you get really unlucky, then you're screwed. The burn finishing though. Ooh, that was good. Oh man, I was hoping that would finish you. But alas, it did not. Oh, it still goes, so we're fine. Burn ought to do it. Yep. And we are still good. There's also the Clair Obscur boss in a Monolith Lumiere section. Oh, you know what? You're right. I might have got it straight in the eyeball by accident.
Finesse.
actually kind of hard to hit it in the eye. Yeah, hitting it in the eye seems to help.
Last chance. En garde.
Goodbye.
I'm okay.
Yeah, this strategy's not too bad. There's not that much risk involved. It seems pretty consistent. I could maybe even put on some things that increase free aim damage too.
I'm ready.
Ooh, this is perfect. I can aim straight for the eye. Yep, it's the eye. It's the eye. It's 100% hitting it in the eye. If it just starts out in that pose where it's kind of like slouched over, then it's done.
Last chance. I can do it. Oh, don't bonnie.
This pose, it's a lot harder to hit the eye. Not impossible, but... Yeah, there she blows.
En garde. Let's spill some.
Ooh.
Oh, ben.
Oh yeah. It's one hit every time.
Last chance.
And goodbye. Ah, this strategy is foolproof.
Oh, don't.
Who would have thought her free aim shots could do more damage than her regular attacks?
En garde.
Oh, that was lucky.
En garde. I can do it.
The burn will finish you off. Don't worry. It always does.
Oh, banana.
Look, even Versa still got to 95. It's a little harder here because we can't go for the eye. This is the worst one to fight for the eye.
En garde.
Wow, with no buff, burning candles can't do anything, can it?
Not giving up.
Okay, that's it? Okay.
Eso quiero.
Yeah, this strategy really has not failed me.
Not looking good.
I'm doing great, man.
On me.
Man, that was not a good run of that, but we'll be fine.
I can do it. Last chance. I'm okay.
That was the worst run of it, and we were still just fine. Just another 3 levels, and we are gold. I'm starting the bouncy one. Good, still go.
Last chance. Not giving up. Last chance. Not looking good.
Just because you're at 1 HP doesn't mean we're not looking good, Mael.
Eso quiero. Árbame.
Trish's last chance is kind of bugged. Bugged how? It doesn't give gradient charge. Oh, maybe they thought it'd be too overpowered if it did. Or maybe it's because it only uses 1 HP, so it wouldn't really give you that much anyway. Who knows? Or it could just be bugged. Oh, we already have augmented aim on. Okay, we're good then. No wonder it's so strong. Yeah, it does say it builds up when you get AP. So, if fully recharging it, it would be a little overpowered, I guess.
I'm ready. Finesse and grace.
Oh, this is not going good. This is okay. This is the worst one I've seen because the fortunes. Okay, no, he still died. We're good. We'll probably be okay. Yeah, we'll be okay.
Last chance. I can do it.
Oh well, funny burn. I wonder if this is actually the fastest way. Like, is this the meta build experience strategy? I mean, it's really good. If I wasn't already level 96, I'd be leveling this up like crazy, obviously, but...
Finesse and grace. Last chance. Not looking good.
Oh, we did crazy damage right there. Did you see all those ones I got to keep? Wait, stream dead? Where? How? I don't... Looks like it's still up to me. I didn't drop any frames or disconnect. Also, hello, Mookuki. I haven't been in the streams in a while. I like the game. I loved the game. This game was amazing. One of the best I've played in a while. Ooh, that's surprisingly didn't kill you. Okay. Back. It was never even down for me. I don't know. I don't know, Jazz. I've had the stream open on my phone the whole time, and it never looked like it was down. YouTube being YouTube. It was fine though. Huh. I don't know. I really can't explain it. Because as far as I can tell on my end, nothing happened. The only problem with this is it gets so repetitive, just fighting this guy over and over again.
Finesse and grace.
Battery low, who cares? Trying to platinum the game? Actually, yes. We realized I was only a couple trophies short from platinuming the whole game, so figured might as well go for it. Yeah, it's basically just I need the max level and then you need to grab the last journal entry. And that's it. Good to go again. It's another 1 or 2, and then we'll be 97. Oh, I somehow made him drop down into that mode. I don't know how I did that. Did I hit him in the eye by accident?
I can do it. Okay. Not giving up.
Yeah, I knew it'd be one more. Oh, this is still taking so long. There's still gonna be 2 more levels after this.
I'm ready. Last chance. I can do it.
Yay! Only 2 more to go. I almost feel like just switching over to doing the running around with these guys instead, just for the variety. Ready.
Let's go, path.
Yeah. This way gives slightly less with each one. Unless it's the when you fight the 2 of these, I think they give you a little more.
Cut him
When
down.
you use some with double damage but Phantom Strikes, you take them out. Maybe. I've noticed the damage from Phantom Strike isn't really living up to what I would hope. Man, that machine. Ah, Hagen indeed, Panic. What's up? Welcome back. Yes, the soul fire damage buff is not present. That was still a whole lot, though. Oh my gosh.
Let's go the path.
It's only a million from those guys. I just need a little change of pace.
Finesse and grace. I'm ready.
And not beating this guy is probably the worst thing that could ever happen.
Let's shine.
Still got him though. What's the next stream game? Talk of the Town was Hollow Knight Silk Song. Real bad, real bad. Based indeed. I have heard Silk Song is amazing, so gotta check it out. Hey, I thought I had that. Oh well, I don't care if I'm bound. You are toast. Goodbye. And so are you. Goodbye again. The only problem is that Phantom Strike can't seem to consistently take down the Contortionist. If it could, then that would be really fast. Hit 3 playthroughs already and got 100% on Steam. Woo! Crazy. Need the DLC. It'll be out eventually, I'm sure. There, that's more like it. Okay, that's the stratagem. That is faster, I would say. 7 more years. I waited this long. Beautiful. Oh, I thought the burn would finish you, but it did surprisingly well. Not the best luck I've ever had. Not the worst either. Oh, whoa, I went right between his legs. Oh well, we're still good.
Last chance.
The perfect game of the year, too many good games, yeah.
Okay.
Word is, it's just gonna be duking out between Expedition and Silk Song. Probably Hades 2, yeah, probably. Almost 98, baby. Almost 98. Oh, that ain't it. That's how you do it. How you do it too. One more for 98. Oh no, I used too many. Oh well, I'll just use strategy once too. Yeah, I'll let the burn finish you off. Streak after this one, it's like 22 or 23 mil, so just 11 more runs after. Ooh. Well, we'll get there.
For me. Let's spill.
Come on. 98. One more level to go. My L is as strong as she can get. Pretty much. It occurs to me I could be applying some points to her to make her slightly better, but it probably wouldn't help that much.
Prepare for annihilation.
Oh, that was like the best we've seen yet. Come on, keep the gravy train moving. Oh, that's not good at all. It might survive this. Nope, it still died. We're good. Enough talking, Merchant. I've heard everything you had to say. Oh, this will be easy.
Let's spill some ink.
Oh, you lived that. Okay, well.
Prepare for
You're
annihilation.
very unlucky day then. You just dragged it out a little, that's all.
This will hurt.
This has been somewhat arduous, but we are very close to being done. Okay, we'll be fine.
For annihilation.
Complete annihilation.
Grace. And yeah.
And boom. Say we're nearly halfway there. Halfway there. Halfway there.
Prepare for annihilation.
Down to you. That is the first time you've ever lived that. I also watch the third carve animation at the end. Sure.
Giving up.
I think I'll have nothing but time on my hands anyway. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's about as fast as it can get. Oh, I lived. But now it didn't. That was a heavy hit. Oh man, only like 2 or 3 more. This is an exciting moment.
Time to hit big. Let's spill some ink.
We got you now. And adios. Yeah, probably be another 2 in this. Maybe 1. Let's find out.
Let's spill some ink.
Oh man, that was a really good volley. It is 100% dead.
Annihilation. I can do it.
And just for the heck of it. I did 19 million with that. Are you kidding me? And we're still one more to go. Alright, Mael, it's all you, baby. Pretty much dead. Yep. Kind of barely, but we still did it. I just wanted to style on you a little. I'm a survivor. I'm level 99. And of course our experience cap at 33 billion whatever. They just had to do it, didn't they? And I'm leaving. Well, boys, we did it. That leaves, not you, it leaves exactly one more trophy we've yet to claim, which is to find all the journals from prior expeditions. I know, poor kid, he deserves a hug or a pat on the back or something. He's getting just annihilated like 20,000 times. He seemed okay with it though. Now, we return. What journal am I missing? It's actually one near the very beginning of the game that I somehow missed and didn't pick up. That's why I've been doing the running joke at this point of making it the literal very last thing I could possibly do. Because I could have gotten it at the very beginning of the game and just somehow didn't see it. And I didn't think I'd ever get to do whatever that was, but well, we did it. Now, as I recall, if my memory serves me, it was something like, we're talking very beginning.
Hang on tight.
I can't remember exactly. I know Jazz sent me the
Tight.
video. Powerful Gestural not counting Minoko and Golgra. Oh yeah, probably, I would say. I don't know anything about Silksong, the structure of the game, because I don't know how much you can say. I don't really know that much. I've heard, like, the gap between Hollow Knight and Silksong was like Dark Souls to Sekiro, and that's what I just heard, basically. What journal number? Good question. How do I check the journal anyway? Oh, here it is. It would be journal number 62. Other than that, I have literally all of them. I wonder I didn't see it before. I still can't find it.
Through the sky.
First area next to the rocks, shore, stone shores. I don't remember where that is. Abyss Cave. Flying Waters. Oh, last area of Act 1. Oh, okay. Should be over here. stone wave cliffs. The left of the area. Left. Aha! And somehow, I missed this when I was over here the first time. When I was able to crash through the rocks, I just didn't grab it. I surely smashed through these. I just didn't get it. And last, but certainly maybe least, 62.
Expedition 62.
Virgin.
Beat the rest of us to 100 kills, but I'm still 3 shy.
3
I
shy,
might need to
shy.
do some solo hunting if I'm going to even up the score. Oh, I can hear a big Nev coming.
Oh, I can
Then
hear
count
him,
double. If I kill it quick, I can boost my score.
It's a shame that you died, though. Follow the trail. Follow the yellow trail. The greatest expedition in history. Platinum trophy earned. Eat that. Ugh. And at last, that was rectified. The most basic, inconsequential journal ever. This song feels like it started off as DLC of Hollow Knight because it continues from the hardest stuff and keeps scaling. I'm sure that's, it might have come from a place like that. Like, okay, here's where we last left off in Hollow Knight, let's just keep building from there.
Here we go.
Well, that's literally it, man. Dunzo. Everything that could be seen and done has been seen and done, basically. I mean, it's collecting all the pictos and whatever, but it's like, worth it? Nah.
Flashing through the sky.
Love Silksong way too much. Everything about it. I could tell. Well, this shall end where it began. I mean, I know technically it began in Lumiere, but you know what I mean. This was like the beginning of the end. Well, now we can do the other things that we needed to do with our remaining time. Yeah, both Silksong and Expedition, your top 5 of all time. Heavy accolades. I mean, Expedition is amazing. It might be tough to dethrone some of my top 5s just because they're very personally rooted in my brain, but I think Silksong get better the more you play, but Expedition kind of gets a bit stale in Act 3. Like Act 1 and 2 feel more developed, and Act 3 feels like a lot of cut content thrown. Yeah, I can kind of see that, to be honest, but feels like that's when the game just opens up and lets you run around and do whatever before you take on the last guy, which isn't bad. It ends the same way Chrono Trigger does, basically, where it rounds off and lets you just do all the crazy, the crazy stuff before you take on the last guy. And Brynmar drafts to a cave where SK is with water. Good point. It does feel like it's just kind of there, right? Yeah, the Simon Cave was probably going to be connected somewhere else. Because it's supposed to be under the bottom of the monolith, so maybe they had a better path to get there. Forget the tint shards. Let's just watch the Hollow Knight video. Oh gosh, I don't even... It's an hour and 17 minutes. Whew, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting maybe like 30 or 40. Whew. Guess we could still watch it. There's the mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight from a Moss Bag. Goodness. I don't know if I want to watch the whole thing, but... Let's chillax and watch a little bit of it then. I mean, I would imagine it contains spoilers, but...
If you were to ask me, what is your favorite video game ever made? I would have to say Cory in the House for the Nintendo DS. But Hollow Knight would be a close second.
Oh, she doesn't shut up.
Hollow Knight was released on February 24th, 2017 by
Oh,
Team
I'm lagging
Cherry,
out.
an indie game studio based in the mythical land of Adelaide, South Australia. Over the past 3 years, Hollow Knight has become...
For some reason, my browsers just can't run smoothly when trying to stream at the same time. That might make it difficult here. It's not like I have the priority very high on that. Well, let me investigate something. Maybe it's just because it's Brave. Maybe it doesn't like Brave.
An indie darling. The game has sold over 3.5 million
That's
copies.
better.
It was the opening game at ADGQ 2019. There's a Hollow Knight book, a
Maybe if I didn't have it at full blast HD as well. So 720.
line of plushies, t-shirts, nicotine patches, nuclear warheads, and
Oh, yeah.
even vinyl records for all you goddamn hipsters. Team Cherry had one goal when making Hollow Knight. They wanted to create a world that allowed players to get completely lost in exploration. We can see this desire in Hollow Knight.
And also, no, I'm not streaming Expedition in the back. I turned that off.
Knight's design. The levels in Hollow Knight are massive, with secrets and rewards hidden in every nook and cranny. Be that
Okay, I
powerful
don't know what
charms,
I just did, but I think it
special
worked.
abilities, or the game's navigation system requires the player to work for their map, forcing them to make a stronger mental image of the world in their head. Christopher Larkin's score and Ari Gibson's artwork lend to this as well, creating an atmosphere that the player won't want to leave.
Yeah, I don't know what
But
would be
there's one aspect
causing
of Hollow Knight
that,
keeps
but...
people like me coming back. The
Hold on, I'm very curious about investigating this. Yeah, nothing taking up a lot of CPU, nothing using up a lot of RAM. Ironically, the thing using up the most RAM is my browser right now. Yeah, I don't think I could switch because I am streaming off the GPU, I believe. Yeah, off of hardware. Straight from the graphics card. I do have multiple browsers. Brave is the one where I'm signed in on
World building.
on my non-ads YouTube channel. So I could watch it on Firefox, but then it might. Well, then there'd be ads. It is weird that it is still so laggy. It must be the GPU being overloaded, but I don't know why it would be. Spending a lot of time investigating this.
When Super Metroid launched in 1994, it stood out for its amazing sense of immersion. Now in 1994, I was busy not being alive, but I've watched enough YouTube video essays to know that this game was a big deal.
Much.
In case you didn't know, Super Metroid is basically the granddaddy of all Metroidvanias. That's
It still
why they're
lags a
called
little bit, but this might actually be
Metroidvanias.
good enough.
Now in Super Metroid, there are moments that give the player a sense
Well, the
of
Vania's
depth.
from Castlevania.
Basically the feeling
but-
that this world exists outside of Samus's interactions with it. In the room right before that diabetic crocodile thing, Samus can find the corpse of a random soldier. His inclusion here doesn't change the gameplay at all, but instead gives the player a sense of wonder about the world they are exploring. Who was this guy? Why was he here in the first place? Did he like jazz? Now, finding
Probably.
dead bodies and other random garbage is pretty cool, right? Well, Hollow Knight basically does the same thing.
Oh, maybe try streaming the
about a
Discord in
dozen
bed.
times. Through its world building, Hollow Knight turns Hallownest into a living kingdom.
You know what? I didn't consider that. Maybe that would be better. If it is Brave that's being stupid. How far along in the video was I? About right here. Okay. Window capture. Okay. Time for the test.
The land when you look at dilapidated structures or giant barred doors. Nothing feels like it was put
Okay,
into
that
the game
seems to be
randomly.
doing the job.
There's a reason for it all.
Brave apparently just
Except those
can't
reasons aren't the easiest
work with
to
it.
uncover. Hollow Knight's narrative is buried under layers of NPC
Much
dialogue,
better.
item descriptions,
Night
lore
and
tablets,
day.
and
Oh
even
my
additional
gosh.
content like the Quarrel comic and Fan Gamer's Wanderer's
This
Journal.
is viewing
These past 3
experience.
years have seen an insane amount of research by the Hollow Knight community to make sense of Team Cherry's sprawling world. We've
Don't think
even
I
made it
didn't-
to the
I
point
missed a
where
how-to
people
in
are
there.
Looking at the in-game signs to try and decipher Hallownest's logographic language. In this video, I hope to give you a long and detailed look.
I don't
into
even
the
have
world of
ad block
Hollow Knight,
turned on.
exploring Hallownest's history and uncertain
I just have
future.
YouTube Premium.
When I'm not busy making surprisingly accurate Super Smash Bros. Roster speculation videos, or insightful podcasts about beloved subjects like the Donkey Kong Country television series, or whatever this was supposed to be, I'm usually making
Shoop da
videos
whoop.
about Hollow Knight. And while I am a seasoned Hollow Knight lore expert, I cannot confirm that every musing or theory presented in this video is completely correct. I highly recommend checking out the lore section of the Hollow Knight wiki if you want a more neutral explanation of Hollow Knight's lore. But if you're too
Oh, Brave
lazy
is an
to
automatic
read,
one installed.
then I
Maybe
suggest
that's
you
it.
Sit back, order some Domino's pizza, or just grab
I just
a block
had
of
a
cheese
slice
from
of
the
Domino's
fridge
at work today.
and enjoy the mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight.
I like that it's mostly complete.
It's a
They
simple
cannot
fact of
profess
life
to know
that
the
every
entirety of
human
the lore.
worships a god, be that technology, ideologies, or in rare cases, God. As it turns out,
Kratos.
the bugs in Halnest pretty much operate in the same way.
Yeah, I want
From
the
the
captions on.
Mosskin born from the dream of a giant slug,
I like having captions,
to the
okay?
emo kids of the ancient civilization who literally worship the darkness, there is no shortage of things to
Kingdom
worship
Hearts.
in the world of Hollow Knight. Our story begins with a creature very much worthy of worship. A creature born from the carcass of a worm.
A
The
worm.
carcass can still be found in the Kingdom's Edge, and it's our only good look at what worms actually looked like. At the time Hollow Knight occurs, it is suggested there are no worms left in the world. They were incredibly
Even for
long
him, the
creatures
minds
that
of
featured
Australians
little to
cannot be
no
deciphered.
limbs. Another more mysterious property of worms was that they had some kind of prescience or foresight. Basically, they could see the future to some capacity. It isn't clear how effective this ability was. Considering
usually
how
not
the
that
entire
good.
race went extinct, this foresight ability must have been pretty shit. Getting back to this particular
Look to
worm
the-
carcass, it is
the
explained
Bardock
that this worm
special for
traveled
that
across
one.
the distant mountains and wastelands beyond Hallownest. Once it arrived in Hallownest, the worm died. Except not really. Inside the maw of the carcass sits a pale broken egg, out of which hatched a new form of worm, a being of meager shell. This form of the worm is usually referred to as the Pale King, and he's the character basically responsible for everything that happens in Hollow Knight. The Pale King is a higher being, a type of creature that exists above all others. His
Maybe not
body
all
was said
others.
to shine with a radiant visage that harmed those who looked upon him. The ultimate goal of the Pale King seemed to be in line with that of other worms. a
Yeah,
line
it's
from
like,
the
even if you
cryptic
can
Mr.
see the
Mushroom
future of your
movies.
entire race getting
Worms
wiped out,
pull
it's like,
bugs into their
if there's
thrall
nothing you can do
till
to stop it
ages
either
pass
way,
and
it's
kingdoms
not going
fall.
to do much good.
In other words, it's just in their nature. Dogs wag their tails, cats bury their shit, and worms bring massive amounts of bugs into their service in order to form long-standing kingdoms and civilizations. And here in a far corner of the world, the Pale King emerged from the corpse of
I
his
always knew
former
worms were
self
cool.
and began to build his eternal kingdom, Hallownest. There's just one slight problem. There's like people already living there.
Isn't
area
that
would
always the
eventually
issue?
become Hallownest was already filled with mantises, bees, moths, spiders, mushrooms,
Spoderman.
and bush cosplayers. Each of these groups were already operating with their own cultures and societies.
Yeah,
and each
good
group had a
old-fashioned
different
dry
interaction
humor.
with the Pale King.
Very British.
One of the more receptive groups to the arrival of the Pale King were the mushrooms of the fungal wastes. These creatures were able to communicate with one another through one shared mind.
Ah, ye old
the mushrooms
hive.
viewed this shared mind as a strength, and they were kind of smug dickheads about it. Ultimately, the mushrooms wearily accepted the Pale King's rule, viewing his foresight as a shield to the dangers of the future. Another group living in the fungal wastes is the Mantis tribe. The Mantises have a rich cultural history reaching back to long before the birth of Hallownest. The Mantises are a proud tribe, believing in the importance of proving one's physical strength. The Mantises are fiercely territorial, but will show respect to those who display great power. These Fight Club enthusiasts were led by four powerful
They could have put
Mantis
anybody
lords,
there.
who I
and
guess just kind of
could have
sat
done an
around
equal
waiting
joke.
for outsiders to challenge them. The Mantis tribe had no interest in the Pale King's kingdom, but the two communities did come to a truce. In exchange for their independence from Hallownest, the Mantis tribe kept the beasts of Deep Nest from invading Hallownest. Not sure why they didn't just go out the other exits from Deep Nest, but whatever.
Something
I'm
was
not an
stopping
expert
them.
on
I don't
border
know.
control. I don't work at ICE anymore.
Anymore.
Let's move on to Deep Nest. Now, many of the different tribes of
This is
Hallownest
five-
were
this is a
kind
5-year-old
enough to
video.
leave lore tablets behind, detailing pretty much everything we need to know about them. Unfortunately, the bugs of
They're
Deep
throwing them in
Nest
front of the
didn't
gates in
do
the most
that.
dangerous place.
We know that
Yeah.
the spiders of Deep Nest had a monarchy because why not? Those are always good, right? Also, within Deep Nest are a separate group of spiders that immigrated to Deep Nest at some point in the past. This group was known as the Weavers, and they established their own culture and history within Deep Nest. They used looms of silk to weave
Yeah, I guess that
stories,
was
spells, and
part of the joke,
shields.
but
One thing we know for sure about Deep Nest is that they really didn't want anything to do with Hallownest. The struggles of Deep Nest Hallownest relations would become painfully clear as time goes on, but for right now, it seems like the two remained fairly isolated from one another. Another section of pre-Hallownest includes Green Path. Now, as far as we can tell, the mushrooms, mantises, and spiders of Deep Nest didn't worship any higher beings. There is this giant mushroom corpse in the fungal core, but I don't think this is a higher being.
sure it
Who the
is.
hell would want to worship a fat-ass mushroom? Fat-ass slugs? Now that's dope.
Oh,
The land
very
Noah's
dope.
Green Path was created by the higher being
I just
known
want
as
a big
Un.
plush of that thing.
Un used her great mind to dream the vegetation of Green Path into the once barren caverns. Un's followers, the Mosskin, were also born out of Un's dream, making her their creator. Green Path at its height was actually much larger than we see in game. At one point, Green Path stretched into both modern-day Queen's Garden and possibly Fog Canyon. Green Path's citizens showed themselves to be a fairly developed society. They built a temple at the Lake of Un in order to worship her, and they even had their own line of defense, with Moss Knights showing proficiency in combat, using nails and shells as weapons. The Law of Un continued to remain in effect even after the Pale King arrived, but it seems like they allowed the king to establish a road through their lands, leading travelers to the heart of Hallownest. Hence the name Green Path. Yeah, Team Cherry really racked their brains when naming this area, didn't they?
It's a path that's green.
Next, we have
I mean, it
bees.
gets the point
And
across.
while there is no lore on how these bees can turn into fucking drills, or how they can ignore all known
They're
laws
bees,
of
that's your
evolution,
answer.
we do know how they reacted to the Pale
Well,
King.
we know that one too. It's
These bugs
because
decided
they
to
don't care
seal
what
their
we think
hive
is
off from
possible.
the rest of the world, with only patrol bees being able to enter and exit the hive. So yeah, the bees are pretty much pointless in this story.
Yeah,
And
I
finally, we
suppose,
have the
but
moths.
yeah, he just brushes them
In-game,
aside. Like,
we
yeah,
know
the bees are
moth
just there.
settlement
Who
was in the
cares?
resting grounds. But the tribe might have also inhabited the Crystal Peak at one point. Now, as we all know, moths in real life are just complete assholes.
Are they?
As for the moths in Hollow Knight, well, it's a bit complicated. The moth race is described as being a rather pacifist group, with few ever choosing to take up a weapon. During the Pale King's reign, the moth race delved amongst dreams and the dead, displaying the importance of remembering those who have passed, as well as learning how to shape dreams themselves. Similar to the Mosskin, the moth tribe was born from a higher being known as the Radiance. The Radiance is described as being a light in which the moth tribe basked, so she was basically a giant lamp to them. Another
Yes,
important aspect
a
about the
giant
Radiance
sun.
is her ties to dreams and a substance known as essence. Essence are the remains of wishes and dreams, and are represented in
Wait, the
game
remnants
by
or the
these
remains?
dream
No.
catcher particle effects. Essence can take the form of whispering roots, as well as dream ghosts, both of which are memories taking root in the world. The Radiance appears to be a creature made of essence.
I'm getting
but she isn't
flashbacks
the
of
only
fighting this
higher being
thing.
to give off essence. Un has green particles, the Pale King has gray particles, and this sexy character named Grim gives off fiery red particles. However, the Radiance appears to be the main god when it comes to dreams, even if other gods also dabble in the dream realm. Getting back to the Moth tribe, it is their interaction with the Pale King that we need to discuss. Basically, the Moths turn their backs on the Radiance completely.
Yeah, I only fought the
in order to
underpowered
worship the new
version,
light that
the
had
Dark
appeared,
Souls way.
the Pale King's light. So yeah, Moths are assholes in this game too. With her tribe forsaking her, the Radiance became a forgotten memory, a remnant of the past, and a thing that's definitely not going to come up again later in this video.
Nice try, buddy.
And so the Pale King's new kingdom was established, Hallownest. But there is one aspect of Hallownest that we need to discuss.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, to
Absolute
better
radiance. I
understand
forgot
this,
about that
I'm going
thing.
to have to read some poetry. In Wilds Beyond, they speak
I guess I
your
didn't even
name
bother with that.
reverence and regret. For none could tame our savage souls, yet you the challenge met. Under palest watch you taught, we changed. Base instincts were redeemed. A world you gave to bug and beast as they had never dreamed. This is from a poem titled Elegy for Hallownest, written by Motomon the Teacher. The poem appears at the beginning of every playthrough, and hints at what the Pale King and his kingdom offered. Much of the land outside of Hallownest appears to be a wasteland, where bugs survive off of instinct, without the burden of mind. Hallownest
Sounds
somehow
great.
taught these bugs and tamed their savagery. Basically, the Pale King changed the instincts of his subjects and granted them higher thought. To get a better picture of this, let's look at two different characters, Boone and Tuck. These adorable panda bug things give us a clear display of Halonest's effect. While both appear to be the same species of bug, Boone is dumb as a sack of rocks, struggling to string together words, while Tuck speaks fairly clearly. The main difference between these two characters is that while Boone lives outside of Halonest, Tuck lives beneath the city's capital. Basically, it appears as though Halonest is a literal holy ground that raises the intelligence of those who dwell within. The Pale King established a path, starting from the kingdom's entrance in King's Pass, winding through Greenpath and the fungal wastes, and finally ending at the massive capital at Halonest's heart. We now know the capital city as the City of Tears, but that was likely not its original name. The rain that falls down onto the city from the blue lake above didn't begin until after the kingdom collapsed. So unless the capital was originally named by some edgy literature student, the name City of Tears wouldn't have made much sense. The king's motivation for all this appears to have been his desire to be worshipped. The citizens of Halonest
wanted to become a
the
god.
Pale King created the world and everything in it. Shrines to the king can be found scattered throughout the kingdom, and king's idols were created and distributed to followers of the king. Despite the worship, the Pale King often kept himself hidden from his subjects, possibly to hide his blemishes. I mean, if you look at the size of the real Pale King to his statue in the ancient basin, the man is clearly overcompensating.
Yeah.
The Pale King's White Palace was also built underneath the city, separating him from his subjects even more so. At the same time, certain powers became shunned in Halonest, though we don't know for sure if the Pale King had anything to do with this. Lifeblood is a blue liquidy substance that leaves those who drink it feeling refreshed. However, the use of lifeblood was seen as a taboo, and those who used it were demonized as heretics.
Well, that's sad.
The use of soul for combat was also shunned. Soul is a sort of life force in Hollow Knight that animates the bodies of living creatures. But some characters are able to control the soul of others to conjure powerful spirits. But aside from a few exceptions, no citizens of Halonest ever used this power. However, the Pale King didn't rule alone. There was another higher being in the mix, a being known as the White Lady.
Oh, lifeblood.
The White Lady is a weird brute-like being that can be found in the modern-day Queen's Gardens. She is encased in a strange cocoon, and we know very little about her. With as much exposition we get for the Pale King, there is next to nothing on the White Lady. But one thing we do know is that she likes to breed. Like, a lot.
I was gonna say she looks
the White
cute,
Lady
but
would
yeah.
often retreat to the Queen's Gardens, an area of land once controlled by the Mosskin. How exactly she walked around and actually went places is a lore question too deep for even my expertise. The White Lady is also known as a pale being, along with the Pale King. What exactly are pale beings? Well, we don't know for sure, but they seem to stand out even amongst higher beings, as being even more powerful. I know that's a little confusing, so let's try using an example. I'd say that regular higher beings are like a TP-Link Archer C7
This is very specific.
wireless dual-band gigabit router, while pale beings are like the Asus RT-AX88U AX6000 dual-band 8X gigabit Wi-Fi router. Under the Pale King, Halonest underwent a bit of an industrial revolution. He ordered the construction of the stagways, which were used to transport passengers and goods. The Forgotten Crossroads and the storerooms above the City of Tears were used to store goods that traveled along these stagways. The king also ordered the construction of the tramways, because literally no one is safe from the threat of automation. A tram was built between the Forgotten Crossroads and the resting grounds. A second tram was built from the kingdom's edge across the ancient basin over to Deep Nest. And then a third tram was started in Deep Nest and attempted to go further into Deep Nest. Not sure how useful that would have been to the bugs of Halonest, but whatever. The Pale King's a smart guy, I'm not gonna question him. But anyway, the Pale King's
Joan here,
super
being
smart
dead.
plan to build a tram in Deep Nest ended up getting a few of his tram workers killed. The bugs of Deep Nest rejected the Pale King's attempt to build a tram in their territory, further cementing the poor relations shared between the two groups. Aside from convenient fast travel, regular pathways were also used to cart goods around the kingdom. From this was born probably one of the most important groups in Halonest, and perhaps even all of fiction. An elusive guild of bugs, simply known as the Menderbugs, took to maintaining the various signs scattered throughout Halonest.
All of fiction.
From the journal entry of one Menderbug, we can catch a glimpse into their ancient and unknowable minds.
Dear, dear diary, isn't life just the most beautiful thing? Fixing signs, mending posts, Let them break, I say. I'm a better mender for all that repairing. I sometimes doubt there's a single bug. in
Did I
all
find
of
this guy?
Hallownest
I don't know
happier
anymore.
than me.
Another example of the
That'd be
Pale
weird if
King's
I didn't.
expanding infrastructure
It was pretty
is the Crystal
comprehensive.
Peak. This area is filled with crystals that grow rapidly along walls, ceilings, and even the shells of certain
I
bugs.
feel like I must have seen him.
These crystals were considered valuable
He
to the
repairs
bugs
all
of
signs and
Hallownest,
stuff. Oh,
resulting
that's
in
cool.
large-scale mining efforts. We don't actually see the
I mean, someone
crystals
has to
used
do it.
anywhere else in Hallownest, but they are said to contain a sort of
Low
energy.
chance of
The
appearing. Man, that'd
crystals
be
are
sad
also
if I
said
never
to
ran
sing
into him.
if you listen very carefully.
Never gonna get love. I knew it! Freaking knew it.
In terms of military, Hallownest's first
The
line
moment
of
he said
defense
singing, I
appeared
was
to
like,
be a
it's gonna be
group
never gonna
simply
give you
known
up.
as the Five Great Knights. The members of this esteemed coalition were Ogrim, Hagamol, Zamir, Drya, and Isma. For
And
being so
Isma.
important, most of the information about these knights has been lost to time. Ogrim is the knight we know the most about, since
He's
he is
still
one of the few
alive,
knights
so-
still alive during the events of the game. Ogrim expressed a great amount of loyalty towards the king, and he maybe had something going on with Isma, but we really don't know. Hagamol was known for his sense of humor and his soft-spoken voice, but at the same time, he was also dummy thick. Mysterious Samir arrived in Hallownest from a serene land, bringing with her a collection of delicate flowers. At some point, she also got into a relationship with a mantis, but not just any mantis, a daughter of one of the mantis lords.
Wow, I wonder who that is.
So yeah, it seems like these great knights were slaying in more ways than one. All we really know about Drya is that she was fierce, caring, and wise. As for Isma, she was described as being kind. She also appears to be some sort of weird plant life form, but there's no information on where she's from or what her powers were. The Five Great Knights play an important role in the Champion's Call, the Knotted Grove, and the Battle of the Black Worm. We have no idea what these events were or how they affected Hallownest, but they sound cool nonetheless. During Hallownest's reign, there was another strange area that seemed to exist separate from the Pale
Yeah, and
King's
this is
rule.
how the game is animated.
Carved
The
out of
game's
corpse of an
like
ancient
Hollow
god,
Knight's
an
animations
area
are
called the
beautiful.
Colosseum of Fools was constructed, and it was a destination for warriors
And apparently
from
Silk
outside
Songs are
Hallownest. The sole
of a
purpose for
similar
fighting the
caliber, if not
Colosseum
beyond.
appeared to be simply for glory, with a mysterious figure known as the Lord Fool overseeing the combat. We don't know when the Colosseum was constructed or if the Pale King was involved, but one of his servants, the Pale Lurker, became a champion in the Colosseum, perhaps indicating the Pale
It's
King's
way better. It's
approval.
absurd. Oh,
And finally, there
excitement.
was the royal waterways, where the fecal excrement of the kingdom was washed out into the fungal wastes. This area saw the rise of a species of parasite-like creatures called the flukes. The flukes spawned from the fluke marm, a giant monster with cavities in which tinier flukes live.
It was
There
like
really
4
isn't too
times
much
the
more
layers.
involved with the
Wow.
flukes, but I do need to
That's
point out that the
Bethesda
fluke marm
16
is
times the detail,
canonically
only
a
for
MILF.
real.
Like, that's not even debatable. The sky is blue, 2 + 2 = 4, and we all want to fuck this thing. And so this was the
There's
kingdom
more
of
than one
Hallownest
way
at
to
its
be a
height.
lord to something. I'm
Hallownest
just
was
saying.
a vast kingdom connected by a network of stagways and tram stations. The bugs of Hallownest mourned their dead on the resting grounds, engaged in commerce using Geo, the de facto currency of the region, and a thriving capital
I mean.
located in the middle of the kingdom. The Pale King had succeeded in crafting a full-blown
Yeah, we all
society,
hate that the
but we all know
fluke
there
farm
are
is gonna.
pitfalls to living in a society.
Yeah,
As
that
a
is
suspicious and
cursed
knowledgeable
information.
Hunter points out in his journal, the Pale King had created a population of weak and pathetic creatures. The bugs of
Go
Hallownest
back.
did not
What? What did I miss? Fan art. Yeah, the title that refers to that, really? It says an alluring god of motherhood right there. Yep. I did read that. Yeah, that it apparently refers to her as being alluring and of motherhood. So, yeah. These words are right there. Thank you for that information. Team Cherry.
Knowledgeable
You have
Hunter
blessed
points
us
out in
all.
his journal, the Pale King had created a population of weak and pathetic creatures. The bugs of Hallownest did not hunt for their own food.
Much like God
and
when he
had
created
become
humanity.
complacent with their comfort. This is even more obvious with the east wing of the capital. These greedy members of Hallownest's high society became complete cowards, obsessed with riches and plum from excess wealth. The bugs living in Hallownest Prime looked quite different than the instinctive simpletons they once were. Their savagery had been replaced with intelligence, and through that intellect, they gave the Pale King the devotion and service he desired. And while there were a few snags along the way, they were shining times for the king and his subjects. Resting at the threshold of Hallownest is a strange lore tablet, proclaiming Hallownest to be the last and only civilization. It calls Hallownest an eternal kingdom. This appears to have been the Pale King's goal, for Hallownest to stand against a wasted world as a final beacon for civilization. And that was the Pale King's ultimate folly, to think that he could succeed where so many others had failed before. Long before the Pale Kings or the Barry Bensons of the world, the land of Hallownest was controlled by an ancient caste.
I don't want
Hints
to
of
imagine
Hallownest
how much
history are
money they
littered
could make
throughout
with
the
that.
land, with the most notable examples being the soul totems and arcane eggs. One sect of these ancient bugs didn't worship a god like the Pale King or any lord, but instead a dark and mysterious substance known as the Void. This ancient caste once also tried to lay claim to the entire land of Hallownest, but they too failed. In his quest to conquer all of Hallownest, the Pale King had made an enemy long forgotten, an enemy that was about to be remembered.
Fetus the Forgotten, obviously.
I mentioned earlier that the mob
He's not
tribe
involved in
entirely
this lore
forgot
anywhere
about
that
the
I can
Radiants
remember.
in order to worship the Pale King, but that isn't quite true. Memories of her still lingered, and hushed whispers of faith kept the Radiants alive. At the summit of the Crystal Peak, a location known as Hallownest Crown, a strange collection of glyphs can be found. Joining these glyphs is a statue of the Radiants, presiding over the kingdom below. This old summit is the sole standing shrine left to the Radiants. This was built in order to keep the memory of the Radiants alive. The Radiants' light began to appear in the dreams of Hallownest citizens. This light manifested itself in an infection that ravaged through the kingdom's tunnels. Those infected would fall into a deep sleep and awaken with broken minds. Some of the lesser bugs tried to resist the Radiance' light, which only resulted in them being consumed by it even more so. Many infected bugs lost their wills and began attacking bugs that weren't infected. The infection also twisted the bodies of its hosts, causing them to bloat and occasionally develop orange cysts on their bodies. For many victims, they were reverted back to their basic instincts, carrying out the duties they once fulfilled in life, but now as mindless slaves. Those caught up in the infection were linked into the Radiance's hive mind, allowing her to control their bodies if needed. As the infection spread across Hallownest, many groups looked to solutions to fight off the Radiance's light. The gates to the City of Tears were closed in an attempt to keep the infection from reaching the city. The stagways were also shut down at some point, and many of the stags eventually died out.
That's so
But some
sad.
took more proactive efforts against the infection. The scholars of the Soul Sanctum decided to harness the power of Soul in an attempt to fight the infection. This resulted in the deaths of hundreds of bugs, whose souls were sucked out and injected into the bodies of the scholars. Their
And then
goal
gave
was
them
to
Dragon
achieve
Ball
some
Z
kind of
powers.
pure focus, which would somehow protect them from plagues of the mind.
Gamer mode.
The scholar's leader, the Soul Master, was driven mad by the sheer power of Soul, and his entire sect failed to avoid infection. But hey, at least they took as many innocent people down with them as they could.
Classic.
The Mantis tribe, showing a stronger will than the common bug, were able to stave off the infection. However, one of the 4 Mantis Lords turned against his sisters. He and his followers took in the infection willingly, as it gave them more strength and courage. At some point during all this, the Traitor Lord and his followers were exiled from the Mantis village, eventually taking up residence in the Queen's Gardens. The Traitor Lord's daughter ended up dying at some point. This is the same Mantis that was in a relationship with Zamir, one of the 5 Great Knights, but the Mantises rejected their union because of Zamir's outsideness. As a gamer, this type of prejudice is all too familiar, and honestly, it makes me sick. With the 5 Great Knights,
There's so much
completely
happening in that
useless to fight
screenshot. I didn't
against the
even know what to talk
infection,
about.
the Pale King devised his own scheme. A scheme involving a strange substance known as void. As I mentioned earlier, the Pale King's White Palace was built in an area called the Ancient Basin. But his castle wasn't the only noteworthy thing down
Sadness
there.
indeed.
At the bottom of the Ancient Basin was the entrance to a pit known as the Abyss. Within the Abyss was a lake composed
Indeed,
of void.
both girls.
The Pale King realized that this void could be given form, as
But
evidenced
it was
by
the
an imprint of
outsidedness
such deep
that was the
within
issue.
Abyss, possibly left there by the ancient
Progressive in its own
civilization
way.
that predated Hallownest. The Pale King devised a workshop in his palace, where he placed void in armor shells imbued with soul, creating servants known as King's Molds and Wing Molds. These void creatures were somehow imprinted with the desire of the Pale King, so that they would serve him. It isn't clear when the Pale King started making these creatures. There is evidence to imply that even common bugs were aware of King's Molds, but the point is, the Pale King turned to the void in order to create another creature, one that he believed could contain the Radiance and her infection.
Right,
He tried
yeah.
to create
That
a
is
pure
cool.
vessel. The Radiance's infection needs its host to have a will and a mind in order to enslave it. A pure vessel would be a creature made of void designed to lack those features. The Pale King believed that by harnessing the void inside a pure vessel, he would be able to stop the infection and keep Hallownest lasting eternal. But his method for creating this so-called pure vessel was incredibly cruel. This is where the White Lady and her King Kong-sized libido come into play.
King Kong.
These two higher beings engaged in a union of some kind, resulting in the creation of several eggs that were dropped down into the abyss. There, the void seeped into these eggs, corrupting the offspring of the Pale King and the White Lady. This act resulted in the creation of the vessels. The vessels are not
The
technically
babies.
considered to be alive. They are shells created from the Pale King and White Lady that have been filled with a void. Within each vessel is a shade, a completely void being hidden behind the face of the vessel. Vessels are also non-gendered, I guess because they're dead or something.
Because
I'm
they're
sure
not
if that's how
a
that
physical
works,
being,
but
I don't know.
Whatever. I'm not an expert on these kinds of things. I don't work at ICE anymore. Thousands of vessels were
And that
created
would have
during
made you
this
an expert on
process,
those kinds of
but
things?
only one was chosen as the pure vessel. This particular vessel, chosen by the Pale King, was deemed the Hollow Knight, and was taken away to the White Palace. But I want to take a bit of a closer look at this part of the story. There are a number of questions and theories surrounding this moment that I really want to dig into. The big question surrounding this moment is, why was the Hollow Knight chosen over any other vessel?
Yeah,
One
like
common theory is that
arbitrarily,
the
or
Pale King took these vessels back to the White Palace and evaluated them using his giant collection of buzzsaws. This theory is
Oh.
probably the least likely explanation. It kinda exists just to explain the buzzsaws, which is quite the mystery, I'll admit.
like that he ran
but
them
doesn't
through the
really mesh with
gauntlet and
the
he was a
vessels
sole
very well.
survivor or something?
How does being good at Super Meat Boy prove that you are a worthy vessel?
Well, it proves
And
it
while thinking
immensely.
about
Have you
logistics
seen
in a
that?
game about magic bugs is never a good idea. How exactly did the Pale King transfer
You know how
these
hard that
thousands
was?
of vessels to his palace without characters like the Dung Defender finding out? So this means that the Pale King probably made his decision without taking any of the vessels out of the abyss. So how did the Pale King make his evaluation? I think the best explanation comes from a theory I originally heard from a user named Golden Flower Fan.
Flowey.
Basically, the vessels were hatched down at the bottom of the abyss.
Or
And
Asgore.
the first one to make it to the top was chosen by the Pale King. In a memory of this event, we see vessels falling from above back down into the pit of the abyss. Perhaps these vessels weren't being cast down into the abyss, but fell while trying to escape out of it. The lore tablet outside the abyss appears to support this theory. It reads, "Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and
he
regret
dreamed
its
of it
creation.
as
We
an
shall enter
impenetrable
that place
fortress."
no longer."
That could be it.
This tablet was likely written right after the Hollow Knight was chosen, considering that is when the entrance to the abyss was sealed off. The tablet proclaims that the pure vessel has ascended, or in other words, climbed out of the abyss. And while cut content should never be considered canon, I would just
Maybe
like
not
to point
never,
out that
but-
the earlier version of this tablet, found in the game's code, was even more explicit about this. It read, "From below, our pure vessel has ascended." But how does making it to the top of the abyss first prove that the Hollow Knight is somehow a perfectly hollow vessel? Well, I think this whole concept might just be a misconception. What if the Hollow Knight wasn't any different from the other vessels? All the vessels were made in the exact same way after all. The idea that the Hollow Knight was somehow more hollow than the other vessels comes from the fact that there were so many vessels created in the first place. If they only needed one, then why create so goddamn many? I mean, this is like Octomom
I see you,
on
Waldo.
steroids.
Don't even try.
Well, these are bugs we're talking about, so it would make sense that multiple offspring would come from one egg. And it might
Yeah,
have been
they just made a
precaution to
billion at
produce
once.
multiple vessels in hopes that at least one would be able to successfully escape the abyss. Now, another explanation could be that the Pale King just yeeted other vessels that made it to the top first, after determining that they weren't hollow, which would better explain why so many were created. Ultimately, the exact details aren't super important, but I do find it interesting how many different interpretations can be pulled from this part of the lore. After the Hollow Knight was chosen, the Pale King sealed the doorway to the abyss, leaving the discarded vessels to rot away in darkness. These actions were not taken lightly by the Pale King or the White Lady. Both participants expressed shame in what they did.
Yeah, obviously
but
they
saw
didn't know
no
if this
other
would even
option to
work,
save
so
the
you just had a
king.
whole bunch of them.
But the vessels weren't
And
the
I guess
only four saps sealed away in the
ultimately only a
abyss.
couple of them even did
There's
work.
also a lighthouse that was built on top of a naturally formed spire, its light shining down on an ocean of abyss below. Inside was one of the Pale King's royal retainers, who was left in charge of keeping the lighthouse turned on. So this brave soul was willingly sealed in a dark and dangerous tomb for the rest of his life, just so he could not pull a lever. Well, at least he was living with purpose. With the abyss sealed and the Hollow Knight
Messed
chosen,
up.
the Pale King's plan was beginning to come together. The Hollow Knight was raised and trained to prime form, causing it to grow several times its original size. We don't know exactly why this happened, but I guess the Hollow Knight is just a grower and not a shower. We know that the Hollow
Quite
Knight
possible.
was trained to use a nail, but why was this even necessary? One possible explanation is that the Hollow Knight needed to protect itself in case an intruder tried to kill it. You know,
Like us,
like
yeah.
the player. Or perhaps this was important in the process of containing the Radiance. Unfortunately, the details of that are never fully explained. The Hollow Knight might have somehow focused the Radiance inside itself, but Team Cherry gives us no explanation of how that might have worked. But that still wasn't enough for the Pale King.
Oh, that's something from last
Additional seals
DLC
were
as well.
needed in order to protect the Hollow Knight's physical body,
Prime
while
Hollow
the
Knight.
Radiance was trapped inside of it. To achieve this, the Pale King sought the help of three particular bugs, who would later be known as the Dreamers: Lurien the Watcher, Motomon the Teacher, and Hera the Beast. Lurien is definitely the most mysterious of the three Dreamers. He lived in the Watcher's Spire in the City of Tears. From there, Lurien watched over the
You know,
city
good
with his
point.
telescope.
Being within the
Lurien
Pale
was a
King's
pretty big
presence
fan of the king,
would have
so
obviously
it
had
probably
some
took
effect
little
on the
convincing
Hollow
for him
Knight.
to lie down for him. Lurien might also be tied to another strange incident that occurred in the City of Tears. Hidden on some of Lurien's lore tablets are images of jars, the same jars that can be found stockpiled in the Tower of Love. This building sits on the outskirts of the city, and is the setting of one of the most bizarre bosses in the game, the Collector. The Collector
Owl
is
House
a void
joke.
construct that appears to have been made from the same mold used to create the King's molds. But the Collector is unique because, well,
Yeah.
the Collector stayed in the Tower of Love
I love it.
with a noble bug who likely owned the establishment.
From my
In the
favorite
tower,
episode.
a number of bugs can be found captured in jars, implying that these two were tasked with collecting these creatures. However, the Collector somehow became obsessed with grubs.
The
creating a
grubs,
map
I
to
have a
keep track
keychain of them.
Grubs it captured in jars, as well as keeping a strange shrine displaying a grub in the style of the Vitruvian Man. Eventually, the bug staying with the Collector decided to lock it inside the Tower of Love, and fled to the Queen's Gardens, where it died.
Why are there so many
Likely
different
due to
characters and
overexposure
things
to
called the
void.
Collector? I can think like
Despite being
of like
locked up in
4.
the tower, the Collector is still spotted by the Hunter at some point.
Like there's
which
one
either
in
means that
Marvel,
something
there's one in
happened
this,
recently,
there's one in Little
or
Big
the
Planet,
Hunter
there's
has
one in
been
Owl
running
House.
around
There's
the
just so
palace
many
for a
of them.
long ass time. We have no idea
Why
what
is that
these
even
creatures
allowed?
were trying to do. It's implied that the Collector was trying to preserve the creatures of Hallownest, perhaps trying to protect them
Like a
from the spread
zookeeper
of the
maybe? Who
infection.
knows?
But we don't know where the Collector's obsession with grubs originated, and while Lurien does seem connected to all of this, we don't know how involved he was with this operation, or what its end goal exactly was. Motomon the Teacher lived in the Teacher's archives, a library built atop a lake of acid in the Fog Canyon. The lower half of her body consists of tentacles,
hoarder, that works
making her
too.
a popular subject for the thriving Hollow Knight R34 community.
Somehow I
Archives
doubt
in
that,
the
but what
Fog
would I
Canyon
know?
As a whole, are also filled with these strange Metroid knockoffs. These creatures are likely related to Monomon in
I believe
some
they're
way.
jellyfish.
They could be her
Bug
live
jellyfish.
offspring, her test tube babies, or possibly even her shit.
I'm sure
Monomon uses
that
futuristic
you think that's a
cathode
likely
ray
option.
tube things to store
don't
information
know why.
about Hallownest.
I don't know why I'm sure of
Several
that.
terminals in the teacher's archive go into detail about the Pale King's plan to defeat the Radiants, indicating that Motomon had intimate knowledge of what she was taking part in. Finally, the Pale King sought the help of Hera the Beast, the Queen of Deepnest. Now, as I mentioned earlier, relations between Hallownest and Deepnest were kinda not great. Unlike the other two dreamers, Hera needed to be convinced in order to help the Pale King. Hera would eventually agree to become a dreamer in exchange for a child. The Pale
That's
King
how it
agreed,
goes.
And the two engaged in a dalliance, which is a fancy way of saying they totally boned. The White Lady was okay with this arrangement. In fact, she might have been watching from the closet.
Well, hold on now.
The motive
Don't
behind
put
Hera's
your head
request
cannons
is
on me.
never elaborated on, but it appears as though the King of Deepnest was dead at this point. Hera was a common bug, so perhaps she desired the Pale King's pale seed so that her child could be of high birth. The bargain between Hera and the Pale King resulted in the birth of Hornet.
Epic.
She became known as the gendered child because, unlike the Pale King's other children, Hornet was
Hornet had
not
a gender.
hollowed out by the abyss. Hera and Hornet spent little time together, as Hera had to make good on her end of the bargain. And so the three dreamers were put to rest. Through their actions, a seal was placed over the black egg, prohibiting entrance into the chamber. These dreamers also had their
yes,
own
Carl.
protection.
I'm so used to seeing him, I didn't even notice.
Spire, the Watcher Knights guarded access to their master's body. Motomon's body was protected by a giant jellyfish named Umu. On top of this, Motomon entrusted her servant Quirrell with a mask which would be required to break an additional seal she had placed over herself. So she basically is double wrapping herself. As for Hera, we're not really sure what
Redundancies
protected her,
is the word.
since it is never actually seen in-game. We don't know where this creature is hiding, but whoever it is, they really suck at their job. Now,
Considering they
there
never
appears to be
show
one
up,
more
yeah.
element to the Pale King's plan, involving the Weavers. Hidden away in the Weaver's den is an incomplete seal of binding, woven from silk. This design prominently features the Hollow Knight's head, and can be found in the White Palace, as well as blocking the exit during the Hollow Knight fight. Silk spools created by the Weavers can be found in the Stag Station in Deepnest, as well as the Stag Station next to the White Palace. These spools can also be found in the Pale King's workshop. We know that the Weavers were closely tied to Hera and Hornet.
Good point. If
So
you have
their
all of
actions might have been
Deepnest
a part
guarding
of the
you,
deal
who
between
really
Pale
needs
King
a
and Hera.
specific guardian?
Once the Hollow Knight was ready, the Radiance was somehow channeled into the vessel, which was then placed inside of a giant black egg located in the Forgotten
The Black
Crossroads.
Goat's egg.
This egg was built to sustain the Hollow Knight, and itself appears to be fashioned from
I
gold.
wonder where the Weavers are going to
The
come
Hollow
up.
Knight was chained up, and the entrance to the black egg
Thought.
was locked behind a powerful seal created by the three dreamers. Initially, this convoluted plan actually worked, and the infection was successfully contained. Memorials to the Hollow Knight and the Dreamers were erected in the City of Tears and the Resting Grounds. But this is the part of the story where things get a little bit hazy. By the time these statues were constructed, citizens had taken to writing on parchment woven from spider silk, which was all destroyed when water started pouring down onto the city. We don't know how long
Sucks.
the Hollow Knight was able to completely contain the infection. Bugs from Dirtmouth used to go to the Temple of the Black Egg to pray, saying they felt at peace within the walls. But after a while, they stopped going, perhaps indicating that the infection was beginning to leak out again. The infectious air continued to seep through Hallownest for years, eventually even reaching the deepest parts of the kingdom. As it turns out, the Pale King's pure vessel wasn't quite so pure after all. The Hollow Knight had been tarnished by an idea instilled. While the game never explicitly tells us what that idea was, it does hint strongly at what it might be. Hidden away in the White Palace is a memory showing the Hollow Knight and the Pale King sharing a moment. The Hollow Knight might have developed a parental bond to the Pale King, and who could blame it? The Pale King is a
Considering it
pretty
was
great
their
dad
dad,
after all.
so.
You know, if you ignore the infanticide and everything. Remember those smug
And the fact that
mushroom
they had to
dickheads?
let them
Well, it
absorb
turns
a
out that
god and
trust
get
in the
chained
Pale
up
King
inside
was
a building and
complete
everything.
mistake. That shared mind isn't looking too good now, is it? In the fungal core, the corpse of a giant mushroom lies dormant. Its final thoughts were, "Pale worm, what good to see a demise unavoidable?"
There you have it.
This could imply that the Pale King always knew that his kingdom was doomed. All he could do was delay the inevitable.
The
This is
Odin
likely
route.
the moment when Hallownest, as it once was, entirely collapsed. The Hollow Knight had not completely stopped the infection, and while it may have taken a while, Hallownest was eventually brought low. It's at this point that characters and areas begin to resemble as we know them in-game. When it became clear that the Hollow Knight was not able to contain the Radiance, the Pale King resorted to his final plan. He fucked off, hiding himself, his White Palace, and his Pale Court in the Dream World.
He did
At
the
this
old
point,
Joe
all of the
Stars
furniture in the
technique.
palace was covered
He
under
booked
white
it.
sheets, similar to how people in the real world cover their furniture while away on long trips. The palace was also completely covered with thorns and buzzsaws, similar to how people in the real world cover their houses with thorns and buzzsaws.
Remind me to do that next
The
time.
Pale King would eventually pass away while sitting on his throne in the White Palace. There's no confirmation on what killed him, but there are a few things to consider. The throne room is incredibly dark compared to the rest of the palace, and the particle effects and ambient track in this room are identical to that of the Abyss. All of the king's molds surrounding the Pale King are dead. The ancient basin itself also has become stained with the presence of void, as it can be seen as high as the rundown elevator shaft leading back to the city. Remember that bug that was sealed
The Hollow
away
Knight
in the
was their
abyss to make
child.
sure
It
the
makes
White
sense that they
House
would have
wasn't
some
turned off?
affection for them, but then
Well,
that ended up
The lighthouse
backfiring.
was turned off. I guess that whole living with purpose thing is a crock of shit after all. It seems as though the Sea of Void itself actually convinced this bug to betray his king and turn off the lighthouse.
Well,
Now I know what you're
shoot.
thinking. Exactly how conscious is the Void? Is the Void able to think for itself? Can it form strategies?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
host a podcast?
Yes.
Well, according to this Chozo statue ripoff, the Void is powerful, but not unified. So while it can thrash around at things that come near it, or call out in unison to turn off a light, it's not a single conscious being. Getting back to
It's
the
an
Pale
amalgam
King,
of chaos.
One could argue that the Void might have played a role in his ultimate demise, and I've argued that viewpoint in the past, but we have to remember that there isn't enough evidence to know for sure. As an expert lawyer and a good friend of mine, Johnny Cochran, once said, "Any evidence that the Void was involved in the Pale King's death is circumstantial." My name is Johnny Cochran. Just above the White Palace,
Great
the bugs
quote.
in the City of Tears weren't faring much better. Even if we ignore the fact that the infection was still around, there were other issues that helped lead to the city's downfall. Due to the gates being sealed, some bugs resorted to cannibalism in order to avoid starvation. And there's also that metric fuckton of corpses lining the walls of the Soul Sanctum. When all was said and done, the only citizen left standing is Eternal Emelita, who just laughs her ass off about it like she's a fucking Dark Souls character.
Almost
The White
like
Lady
she
ends
is.
up in a cocoon deep within the Queen's gardens. She decided to place bindings on herself in order to keep her from
Yeah,
spreading her
like most
seed.
podcasts.
She claims that
Cringy
this is
memes,
because of
controversial
the shame
guests.
she feels in helping the Pale King create the vessels. But honestly, it's probably just her kink. The White Lady also diminished her power, possibly as a way to keep herself hidden from unwanted visitors. Outside her cocoon, Dryia stood guard, protecting her queen from the violent traitor mantises. Dryia is eventually killed off by
Mantisae.
these bugs, which is actually pretty pathetic if you think about it. I mean, we're talking like the Netgear WPN824N N150 wireless router pathetic.
It looks pretty pathetic, I
Speaking
must
of
say.
great knights dying pathetically, let's move on to Hagamol. Hagamol held the city crest, a key used to open one of the gates to the City of Tears. At some point, Hagamol's armor shell was stolen by a maggot. Now, maggots were generally looked down upon and forced to do menial labor.
They are
They
maggots
were
after
incredibly
all.
weak, and basically deserved all of the discrimination they got.
Well, that's
But this
rude,
one
but
maggot decided to turn the tide, so he stole Hagamol's shell.
Yeah, that
so
guy
he
was
could
epic.
defend his downtrodden brothers. His actions weren't motivated by the infection, but instead was the result of how hierarchical caste systems will always lead to revolution from the working class, and that true freedom can only be achieved blah blah blah,
Like,
capitalism is bad, subscribe to my Patreon. Ogrim moved
Capitalism
to the
is
Royal
bad,
Waterways
subscribe to my
and
Patreon.
started living in ships,
Great sentence.
changing his name to Dung Defender. Now, I love wallowing in shit as much as the next guy, but you'd have to really love shit to put up with living with the flukes. The Dung Defender kept an unwavering sense of duty and loyalty to the king, and love for his fellow knights. So much so that he
Plural
made shit
of
statues
mantis is
them.
manti,
How
obviously.
nice.
Because
Ogrim
his
acted as the
cactus is
defender of the
cacti,
pipeways,
mantis is manti.
As well as Isma's Grove. A section of the royal waterways became filled with acid, and in the middle of it all rests Isma's corpse, which has been overcome by plant life. Isma is likely the one responsible for this acid blight, but we have no idea what happened to her.
Acid
Hornet's
powers.
whereabouts during this time are fairly mysterious. We know that she departed Deep Nest and didn't return until the events of the game. At some point, she took to guarding Halnest from intruding warriors, as well as the cast-off shell in the Kingdom's Edge. Despite the Kingdom's woes at large, fortunately this fate did not befall one of the fandom's favorite characters. The Menderbugs continued to fix the broken signs and wayposts of Halnest. From a diary entry, we can see that one Menderbug in particular had found himself on the precipice of a long and loving relationship.
Good for you, man.
Hello again, diary.
Hello
Not long
again.
Now until the next Minder Bash. For us
Oh, no.
types, we're a riotous bunch when we get together, and Minderberry kept flashing me that smile. It might be time to muster my courage and act on it. I love my home and my
Nah, the
life,
character
but
rule probably
sharing
doesn't
it with
apply.
another? Why, that'd be the
There is no
very on
hard
top.
rule anyway,
Game
it's
Pass
just whatever
also
we
underwent
want.
some changes during this time. The Mosskin were waiting for Un's call, which would bring them back into the dream they were originally born from. But for some reason, Un's strength deteriorated. We don't know why this happened exactly. Was it due to the White Lady claiming part of her kingdom? Was it somehow due to the infection? Some Mosskin believe that Un went into hiding, but it appears as though Un is, in fact, calling to her children. But many of the Mosskin are unable to hear her call. Instead, many Mosskin seem to have taken the Radiance's infection into their leaves, which might explain why Greenpath became overgrown with vegetation despite Un's deteriorating powers. Mossy vagabonds even openly chose to forsake Un and worship the Radiance. Another tribe to be screwed over by the
Oh,
Radiance
they're
is
lore
the
guys for
Hive,
the games. I
which
was
fell
wondering
to
who
the
that
infection
was.
after the death of their leader,
That's cool. I love
Hive King
cameos like
Vespa.
that.
But it appears as though this had little effect on their civilization. The Radiance's hive mind was already familiar to the bees, since the hive probably operated under something similar already. So in other words, the hive probably made out the best in this whole situation. Let's turn our attention back to the moths. After all, it's their god that keeps killing everybody. While the moth tribe didn't fare too well actually, as pretty much the entire tribe died out. The only known survivor is the seer. Despite the loss of her tribe, the seer continued to tend to the graves in the resting grounds, while also waiting the arrival of the wielder, a mysterious being that her tribe has dreamt of for a while.
Yeah,
In the
a
Kingdom's
slug
Edge,
that,
the
you know, they
land
eat
became covered
leaves
in
and everything
ash
all the
molten
time
off
would be
of the
their
worm's
god.
decomposing corpse. The Colosseum of Fools continued to thrive. The Lord Fool passed away.
I
at
guess it
some
makes sense.
point,
A slug
but
is
nobody
insanely
really
powerful to
seems
vegetation.
notice or even care. The fools inside the Colosseum were infected, but still seem to have maintained control over themselves. It seems possible that these bugs took in the infection willingly, similar to the Trader Lord and his followers.
They were so powerful they
This would have
controlled the
given them an edge in
infection.
combat, similar to using steroids, but without the whole shrinking testicles thing.
As far as
However,
you
even
know.
the Trader Lord and his followers went mad, so what makes these fools any more special? As for the Pale King's
Because they were
champion,
already
the
fools to
Pale
begin
Lurker,
with.
well, she just went the normal kind of insane. There appears to have been another unforeseen event with the Pale King's plan. When the Hollow Knight was originally chosen, the door to the Abyss was sealed, trapping the discarded vessels within.
I mean, to cows and
But
pigs and such,
apparently,
we might as well
some
be
vessels
gods.
didn't get the memo. Vessel corpses can be found littered throughout the kingdom. There's one in the Ancient Basin,
In some ways.
one in Greenpath, and several trapped in Nosk's lair in Deep Nest. Another vessel that escaped from the Abyss is the player character, the Knight. The exact details on how the vessels escaped the Abyss is unclear. There are indications that they might have slipped into Deep Nest through some old passageway, given void influences in part of the area, and all the corpses found in Nosk's lair. At some point,
Their god
all entrances
disintegrates
to
and
Hollow Nest were
covered
closed
with
off,
salt,
with the
yep.
old well and Earthmouth being the only way to sneak back in.
Drop him in the ocean,
Despite
gone.
this, several people have wormed their way into the kingdom, with few ever returning. Characters like Relic Seeker Lem seem content to just pillage artifacts from the ruined kingdom, but other bugs seemed interested in something greater. In the Howling Cliffs rests the corpse of a member of the Grim Troop. The task of this bug appears to have been to seek out Hallownest, so that the troop might be summoned to the kingdom in the future. The Grim Troop are basically a group of bugs that serve a higher being known as the Nightmare Heart. The
Great.
troop keeps the heart alive by feeding on the nightmares of fallen kingdoms. This process also involves
Minecraft.
sacrificing the troop master to his own child because, hey, look, it's a boss battle. Another
It was really
important group that
difficult.
traveled to Hallownest are the God Seekers. After being abandoned by their old gods, the gods of thunder and the gods of rain, these
Thor
bugs left their home in the land
and
of storms, seeking
someone
out a new
else, I
god
don't
to
know.
worship. The God Seekers look to gods to save them from their own silent mind. While traveling through the wastelands, the God Seekers constructed devices called God Tuners, which helped them seek out new gods.
That sounds
Through
so
this
awesome.
device, they were able to detect the lingering power of the Pale King and find their way to Hallownest. When they arrived, however, the God Seeker was forced into hibernation. She was encased in a strange sarcophagus-like cocoon, which was itself chained up with a lock. It's not clear how
Anyone
this
got a
forced
Keyblade?
hibernation worked, seeing as the cocoon appears to have been made by the God Seeker herself. As for who put the cocoon in chains, I think the most likely
final
candidate is the
DLC
Dung
stuff. I thought it
Defender,
didn't look
considering that
familiar.
The God Seeker's cocoon is found in the junk pit in the waterways, an area the Dung Defender has tasked himself with protecting. This was the general picture of Hallownest after the Hollow Knight was sealed inside the Temple of the Black Egg. The kingdom was stuck in a kind of stasis, with the Pale King civilization destroyed,
Someone else, quite
and
a
the
legend,
Radiance
ancient
unable to
Greece.
break free from her chains.
Well,
The Pale
I was
King
talking about
rebelling
Norse, but
against
yes.
nature, trying to keep his work standing indefinitely. The stasis over Hallownest held for an age. How long is that exactly? Well, we have no idea. As I'm sure you've noticed, there really isn't a timeline for anything that happens in this
Several
game.
difficult and nerfed
We
runs
also
of
have
every
no
boss.
idea how long
Ooh.
any of these bugs
Oh
can
man.
actually live. Elderbug wasn't around to see the stagways open, but we know several other characters were, implying that Elderbug is probably one of the youngest characters in the whole game.
Quite
But
epic
this
indeed.
stasis over Hallownest wasn't going to last forever. At some point, the Radiance erupted out of the Hollow Knight, cracking its shell and releasing a loud and powerful roar. The amount of infection leaking out of the Hollow Knight became even greater. The many corpses that lined the roads and cities of the kingdom sprang to life with the amplified power of the infection. This strengthened infection prompted the departure of the Weavers back to their old home. Now this old home might actually be Farloom, the kingdom in which Hollow Knight Silksong takes place. But the amount of knowledge we have about Silksong right now is pathetic, so I'm not saying that's
Or
confirmed
pitiful.
or anything. This is also around the time that
We may
Quirrell
never
arrives
know.
back in Hallownest. His memory of Motomon appears to have been clouded due
Every
to his
single
time
boss in a row
outside
to
of
beat the final
Hallownest.
DLC. It's like
These events
30
are
minutes.
depicted in the
Ooh.
Quirrell prequel comic, which also shows an image
What
of
part
the Hollow
of Shadow
Knight with a
playthrough have I seen
pre-cracked
so
shell.
far? I
This
turned on
proving
part of the
Quirrell's
first
arrival
episode,
happens roughly the same time the Hollow Knight shell cracks.
and I'm
At
still
around the
curious
same
on why
time
the
Quirrell
videos
arrives
are
in
in
Hallownest, we also
portrait
see the arrival
orientation
of the
instead
player
of
character, who
landscape.
is commonly referred to as the Knight. The Knight was one of the lucky vessels that was able to make its way out of the abyss. Somehow the Knight ended up venturing beyond Hallownest and into the wilds beyond. It's implied that the Knight was called to Hallownest by either the sealed Hollow Knight or the Radiance within. Regardless, once the Knight shows up and yeets itself off this cliff, the actual game of Hollow Knight finally begins.
Hooray! All that was just to get to the game.
Now, there's a lot of details we could get into. Hallownest is full of NPCs and bosses, each with their own stories to tell. But to be honest, I don't think we need to go through all of them.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the
since their
thumbnails. The
stories are
videos
relatively
themselves were
straightforward.
in
For example,
in
let's
portrait
look at
as
the
well, I
brooding
thought.
Moloch. So why is the brooding Moloch brooding? Because all its friends are dead. And there you go. That's the lore for the brooding Moloch. Also, it's the only character in the game with a visible asshole. Now, did
Why
you
do
really
I
need
doubt
me to
that?
explain that to you? Probably not. So instead, I'm just going to talk about the interactions relating to Hollow Knight's main story. The Knight is eventually noticed by Hornet, who lures it deep into Greenpath. There, Hornet attempts to kill the Knight, claiming that she knows what it would try to do. At this
Mhm.
point, Hornet views the Knight as being too weak. After the fight,
Until we beat
Hornet
her
can be
up,
found in
but-
the City of Tears, next to the statue of the Hollow Knight. Hornet mentions that the Knight has gained a resilience due to the time it spent in the void beyond Hallownest.
Yeah, I think they are.
This
I
could be
looked at
referring
one
to
and
the
I
fact
thought it
that
was.
Some of those who leave Hallownest lose their memories, meaning the Knight would have no memories of its own tragic conception. Hornet tells the Knight that if it seeks to continue the stasis that keeps Hallownest standing,
Yeah,
it
all the
must seek
videos are in
Graven
portrait.
Ash, which is referring to the Kingdom's Edge. At this moment, Hornet sees the Knight as a possible replacement for
I
the
can
Hollow
zoom
Knight.
in on them to make
Basically,
them
the Knight could
landscape
break
if
the
I
seals
want,
that
but
keep the Hollow Knight
that's
locked
only on
away,
mobile.
defeat the Hollow Knight, and contain the infection itself. It's at this point that I should mention that Hollow Knight actually has 5 different endings, because of course it would. I'm going to be explaining each of these endings in this video, as they each give us a different glimpse into the mechanics of Hollow Knight's world. Now, to get the easiest ending to Hollow Knight, Hornet's instructions to go to the Kingdom's Edge can be ignored completely. If the knight stumbles upon the resting grounds, the 3 dreamers will appear and cast the knight into the dream realm. There, Seer will come to the knight's rescue and grant it the Dream Nail, a special blade
Epic.
that can tear the veil between the real world and the dream world. With
I
the
know,
Dream
I'm
Nail,
paying attention,
the knight
don't
can
worry.
venture to the resting places of the 3 dreamers, curb stomp their asses,
I remember
unlock
this.
the entrance to the Black Egg. Inside the egg, the knight finds the Hollow Knight chained up, silently watching over it. Once the chains are broken, the Hollow Knight screams with that familiar Radiance roar and pursues the knight. As the fight progresses, the Hollow Knight
It starts
trying
stabbing
to kill
itself, yeah.
Coral style. But then the Radiance starts using the Hollow Knight's body to perform her own attacks. Once defeated, the Hollow Knight begins to spew infection all over the place. The knight can then
You could
focus
probably
infection
crop the
into
videos to
itself.
make them
This
landscape
results
in
the
your
first ending
Photos
of the game,
application,
called Hollow Knight.
or wherever it saves them in
this
your
ending,
recording
the knight
software.
usurps the Hollow Knight, prolonging the stasis over Hallownest. New chains and bindings appear out of fucking
Nowhere,
I know,
yeah.
and contain the knight. And
Maybe they're
new
the
seals
same
placed
chains,
over
it is
the entrance
magically
to the
linked to
Black
'em.
Egg. Now there is one giant question looming over this ending. Can the knight actually contain the infection indefinitely, or will the Radiant still manage to break free one day? Before we answer this question,
If it's like Dark
let's
Souls,
look at
they'll
some of
break
the
free
other
one day.
events that can transpire while playing the game. If the player chooses to go to Kingdom's Edge, Hornet will challenge the knight one last time as a final test of strength. After her defeat, Hornet allows the knight to access the cast-off shell, where the Pale King was originally hatched. By interacting with this egg, the knight's shell is marked with the king's brand, technically making the knight the new ruler of Hallownest.
Wow,
With the
epic.
king's brand, the knight can now open the entrance to the abyss and discover the
Ruling
place of
over a
its birth.
kingdom of no one.
Leaving the abyss, the knight can encounter Hornet again, where for the
Just
first
like
time,
Vegeta.
Hornet suggests that there are actually 2 outcomes the knight can enact. She tells the knight that it can either prolong Hallownest stasis or face the heart of the kingdom's infection.
Yeah, full on
Within
Dark
the
Souls
night,
style.
Hornet sees a
It's all
chance
over
for
this.
change. Instead of just replacing the Hollow Knight, Hornet believes that it may be possible to get rid of the infection completely by using the void inside of the knight. After visiting the abyss and obtaining the Shade Cloak, the knight is capable of reaching the White Lady, hidden away in the Queen's gardens. The White Lady tells the knight that she has been awaiting a
Why
vessel
are
to
eyes so
accept a
cute?
gift, that gift being one half of a charm called the King's Soul, which she claims will give the knight more power. The White Lady goes on to explain that she can feel the weakening of the Hollow Knight within her roots. She
Maybe I
tells the
could.
knight that it is free of the blemishes that made the Hollow Knight.
Although I've been trying to
flawed
get to
vessel.
sleep earlier if I can
From
help
this
it, so.
dialogue, it is implied that the knight truly is a pure vessel, capable of containing the radiance successfully. But it's not quite that simple, so we're going to have to dig a bit deeper into this. Basically, we're going to need to answer a simple question. What exactly does it mean to be a Hollow Knight? Despite the White Lady's words, we have a number of instances where the characters and item descriptions mention that the knight has a will, and maybe even a mind. But from the Pale
Has he
King's
mentioned
dialogue
changing
when
his mind?
describing the Hollow Knight, it is stated that a pure vessel has no mind or will. So is the White Lady wrong? Or maybe even lying? Her eyes have been clouded by time, and she can be tricked into thinking that Ogrim is in the room when the knight is wearing the Defender's Crest charm. She also thinks that Drya is still alive, which, So maybe the White Lady is just senile. My problem with that theory is that the White Lady states that the vessels stand out to her clearly in a misted world, due to them being her spawn. She also questions whether or not the knight sought her aid, which would imply that the knight must have some kind of will. So for whatever reason, the White Lady thinks the knight is still capable of
The
containing
knight isn't hollow
radiance,
because we are the
even if it's
knight.
still able
I
to
buy
make
it.
decisions. After all, the Hollow Knight was considered pure, but they still taught it how to wield a fucking sword. I mean, if the knight were truly and completely hollow in a literal sense, it probably shouldn't even be able to walk.
No, yeah,
or
it would just
draw
be
a
sitting
map,
there.
or open a goddamn bank account. In short, this whole concept of being hollow is so abstract and hard to define, I don't really feel comfortable giving a solid answer on whether or not the knight is or isn't truly hollow, and I think the game leaves room open for other interpretations. Of course, the White Lady's gift is useless without the other half of the King's Soul. In order to reach it, however, the knight must travel to the White Palace, locked inside the body of a King's Mold. In order to bypass the seal, the knight must use a fully awakened Dream Nail. It can do this by bringing 1800 essence to the seer, allowing her to sharpen the weapon's blade. If the knight does this, the seer remarks that the knight truly is the wielder that her tribe has been dreaming of. There's no explicit reason why the Moth tribe was dreaming about this supposed wielder so much, but it seems like they believe the wielder would wash away the crimes the Moth tribe committed by turning their backs on the Radiants. The seer seems to know that the knight might kill the Radiants.
Stop being hollow
and
by
she seems
playing the
accepting
game.
of it, ready for her and her tribe to disappear and be forgotten forever. With the awoken Dream Nail in hand, the knight can travel to the Pale King's refuge and locate the other half
Instead
of
of
the
trying to
King's
just
Soul charm.
seal the infection
When equipped,
within, you
the
just
King's Soul
travel to the
provides a
source and
never-ending
kill a
supply of
god.
soul, making it almost useful if it weren't for the insanely high cost of the charm, and the painfully slow rate at which it increases, and the fact that the charm will get replaced in about 5 minutes after you get it. The King's Soul charm itself symbolizes the union between two higher beings. To me, this implies that the King's Soul is a representation of a vessel, which also was created by the union of two higher beings. With the King's Soul in their inventory, the knight now gains access to an area in the abyss called the Birthplace. In this massive pile of vessel shells, the knight can find a giant egg. Dream nailing the egg allows the knight to access its own memory when it was cast down into the abyss. From viewing that memory, the King's Soul charm is replaced with the Void Heart charm. The recollection of this event allows the knight to come to terms with the void inside itself. Once the knight has the Void Heart, the shades in the abyss no longer attack it, and that strange creature that gives the knight the Shade Cloak calls it the Lord of Shades. In other words, the knight has now bound the once fragmented void under its own will, allowing it to
Becoming
control
a
the void
god
in
of
powerful new
void.
way. With the union of the Void, the Pale King, and the White Lady, the knight has gained a strength before unseen. It is with this charm that 2 additional endings become unlocked. Hornet will now be standing outside of the Black Egg, offering to help the knight should the opportunity arrive. Midway through the fight with the Hollow Knight, Hornet rushes into battle, subduing the Hollow Knight and piercing its shell. It's at this point that the knight is given the perfect opportunity to enter
I remember
into the
this, it was
mind of its
awesome.
sibling, fighting the source of the infection head on, and finally putting an end to the
The
Radiance's
zooming.
tyranny. Or it can just stand there and let Hornet get knocked unconscious. If the knight finishes off the Hollow Knight as usual, the sealed sibling ending occurs. Basically, it's the same as the Hollow Knight ending, but now Hornet is in the room too, and her face appears on the door of the Black Egg. It's not clear what exactly this means for Hallownest. This might imply
Probably
that
nothing,
Hornet
and it
is
might
now a
be
dreamer,
non-canon,
but
but
she's inside the temple, meaning that no one can actually get in there to kill her should the knight ever start leaking infection. At the same time, Hornet mentions that the bindings of the Black Egg would drain her, so she's probably just going to die anyway, right? Generally, people consider this to be one of the worst endings, but it's worth pointing out that Team Cherry doesn't support any one ending as being the true ending. Each ending is canonical in its own right, and honestly,
Literally the
this
worst. Oh,
ending
yeah.
isn't the worst. At least the Knight and Hornet will get to spend some quality time together.
you call
If
that
the Knight
quality?
does dream nail the Hollow Knight, it will be taken to an arena where it can finally fight the Radiance head on. But the Knight isn't alone, as the other shades from the Abyss will appear in order to help corner the Radiance.
I forgot how
Eventually, the
epic that
Radiance gets
was.
trapped in the tendrils of the Void. The Knight bitch slaps her a couple times, and then the Radiance is consumed into the darkness. The Black Egg then appears to turn to shadows, and the Void seeps down into the ground. Hornet awakens to find the Knight's broken shell lying on the floor. We get one final shot of the shades in the Abyss going to rest, and the game is over. This ending is called the Dream No More ending. The Radiance is gone, and Hallownest is finally free from her infection. Now I think it's fair to ask a few questions about how the Dream No More ending comes about. When the Hollow Knight was initially chosen to become the pure vessel, the Abyss was sealed up, and the rest of the vessels were left to rot away.
Rest in peace.
But somehow, vessels ended up outside of the Abyss, and then one of those vessels was used to replace the Hollow Knight. Exactly how much of this operation was planned, if at all?
Not
The White
much.
Lady was waiting for a vessel. Did she have any communication with Hornet? Hornet was guarding the King's Brand, the only way for a vessel to enter the Abyss. How did she know it was necessary to guard the King's Brand from weaker vessels?
Who knows?
Hell, if the vessels did escape the Abyss by themselves, wouldn't it be pointless to guard the King's Brand, since the vessels could just creep back into the Abyss the same way? I'm not
I
going to
guess.
provide any good answers to these questions, because God forbid I answer anything in this entire video. But I do want to
Why are
point
we
out
here?
that
Just
no
to suffer.
plans to actually produce the Dream No More ending are explicitly stated in-game. So we can only speculate as to whether or not the White Lady or Hornet, or maybe even the Pale King, knew that they could defeat the Radiants by creating a Lord of Shades like the Knight. Regardless, the next
I
two
highly
endings
doubt
were
he had
definitely not
anticipated that.
planned. In fact, the last two endings that were added in the Godmaster update almost feel out of place. The
Hmm.
Godseekers basically hijack everything to the point where you don't even have to enter the Temple of the Black Egg to beat the game. That's like beating Mario Bros without ever seeing Bowser. But on the other
Gosh,
hand,
so much wrong here.
Godmaster endings basically
But that was the
reinforce
joke.
that Hallownest does not exist
Lord
in
of
a vacuum,
Sunglasses.
which can help the world of Hollow Knight feel more
Yeah,
real.
maybe the Pale King did
Because what
see
else is
that
reality
far
but just
ahead.
A bunch of random chaotic stuff happening all
That he
the
needed
time.
to seal
If
the
Knight finds a
infection
Godseeker
inside
in
of the
junk
Hollow
pit,
Knight just
we'll
so
be able
another
to
knight could
enter
hop in
mine
and take it down.
refight all the bosses in the game. This is part of the Godseeker's ritual. They basically
I guess
attune
I
to
don't
the
mind.
resonance of
I mean, it's
gods
not like
through
I was ever
ritual
going to play
combat.
this.
This allows them to ascend their minds higher, and eventually, through the use of godly focus, achieve communication with the god sleeping in Hallownest's heart, the Radiance. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty convoluted little religious practice they have going on here. What's next? Are they going to start measuring the knight's Theon levels? It's pretty complicated, but the point is, these Godseekers have some serious capabilities to fuck things up in Hallownest, as we're about to see.
If only
As
the god
night
they had
gets
sought
further and
was
further
going
through
to...
the four pantheons, the Godseekers get closer and closer to making contact with the Radiance, locked away inside the Hollow Knight. At the end of the fourth pantheon, the Radiance makes herself aware in this strange reunion cutscene between the vessels. But she isn't the only one to make an appearance. The Void itself appears to go on the attack, rising up to meet the Radiance's call.
Or I call Bull.
It's at
That
this
would have been
point
good
that the
too.
Final challenge, the Pantheon of Hallownest,
Or any of the other
becomes
gods we know
available.
of.
The Godseeker finally acknowledges the Knight as being more than just a simple cringer, and they begin to watch the Knight more intently. After defeating like a bazillion bosses in the final Pantheon, the Knight finally
Every
comes
single one.
face to face with the Absolute Radiance, a stronger, more enhanced version of the game's final boss. Finally, the stage is set. After roughly 40 minutes of intense agony and tedious boss battles, the Knight has finally reached the ultimate enemy responsible for the destruction of Hallownest. Truly, this will be a battle for the ages.
And Captain
But
Kitchen
first,
Post
let's check
Wesley.
in
Well,
on our
Captain
old
Kitchen is
pal
not a
Leonard.
god, but
As it turns out, he's still alive.
Oh,
when
Miss
the
Wesley
Knight arrives
absolutely
in
is.
Hallownest, and he's still fulfilling his duty after all this time. Let's take one last look at his diary.
My lovely diary. Someone's gone and broke. My favorite
oh, I
sign.
know this voice.
Right there, at the top of the crossroads. Keeps happening. But you know,
Now this is the only voice I've recognized.
I should be thanking them, really. More chances to fix
Vadi.
that beautiful, complex
Yes,
sign.
buddy.
And I've stocked up on spare parts, so I've no fear it'll ever stay broken for long.
Unfortunately, the
I'm
only
glad
way to
Vadi
ever
was in
read
this.
the Menderbug's diary is to kill him in cold blood. I'm
Aww.
not sure why Team Cherry thought this was necessary, but the general consensus on Reddit
Deserved
is that they are
better.
bloodthirsty warmongers, so it checks out. But at least Menderbug's last
Basically
moments were
2D
spent
Dark
fixing
Souls.
one of his favorite signs in the Forgotten Crossroads. It's comforting to think that his final seconds of consciousness were spent in total bliss, before we sent him hurtling into the infinite chasm that is
I will
oblivion.
never not love the
Well, anyways,
Yoda death sound.
the alternate fight between the Knight and the Radiance plays out differently than in the vanilla ending. This time around, the Knight is not accompanied
And I will
by
never
any
stop
shades.
shaming them for not
Instead,
having it in
after
the
defeating
Lego
the
Star Wars
Radiance,
Skywalker
the Knight
saga.
seems to transform into this
You monsters.
monstrosity. Now this creature goes by many names. The God of Gods.
God
the
of
Lord
gods,
Shape,
and that
the
is
Devourer,
insane.
the
If
Void
Jesus is
Entity.
King of Kings
But I
and
don't
God
really
of
like
gods, I
any
don't
of
want to
those,
think about.
So I will just call him Bill. Bill proceeds to completely
Cypher.
annihilate the Radiance in spectacular fashion. We are then treated to the Embrace the Void ending. Bill comes back down from the sky, dropping into the rest of God home. The Godseeker starts to get pulled into Bill by void tendrils. We then cut to the Godseeker in the junk pit.
Oh,
The
I
light
made a
starts
terrible
leaking out of
mistake.
her eyes, and it appears as though Bill is making an escape back into the real world, which is probably a bad thing? Finally, we see Hornet standing outside of the Black Egg as the infection begins to disappear from nearby vines. Hornet hears footsteps coming from inside the Black Egg as the Hollow Knight reveals itself to her and the two prepare for combat. So from this cutscene, we can see
Or maybe
that the
he's
Radiance is
like,
definitely
hey, remember
gone
me,
home.
Hornet? It's okay,
Actually
I'm not
did
here to
kill
fight.
her for real, meaning that the infection over Hallownest is now gone. This means the seals inside of the Black Egg probably wore off.
But yeah, now the
allowing
Hollow Knight
Hollow
just
Knight
gets to be
escape his
free.
prison. In other words, the Embrace the Void ending is a goddamn cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And we have no
Oh man,
idea
it's so
how Team
cool.
Cherry plans to follow
The
this
knight
up.
survives, the Hollow Knight
Knight is
survives,
running loose in
everyone
Hallownest,
survives.
And the knight has transformed into a raging void monster that might try to destroy the entire kingdom, or at least what's left of it. What's even more strange about this ending is that the announced sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong, doesn't seem to be related to this ending at all.
One for
But
absolute
that's
radiance,
a whole
jeez.
different shit show. Obviously, the biggest mystery surrounding this ending is the appearance of Bill. Did this creature exist in the void already, or was it somehow willed into existence by the power of the Godseekers? Did the knight turn into this thing, or did it
Yes.
just become
I
a
don't
part
know.
of it? Examining a statue of this creature and other forms of the knight grant the player a Hunter's Journal entry for an ancient artifact called the Void Idol, which might imply this creature might have been worshipped by the ancient civilization. But again, that's pure speculation. We don't know what this worship of Void exactly looked like. Maybe the Void they worshipped took the form of something more sinister. There is one
Like
thing we know
Roland
about this
McDolan.
monster, though. It's weak to flowers. Yes,
Oh.
these things. As it turns out, those delicate flowers that Zamir has stockpiled up her ass are actually useful.
Is that
for
where they are?
something. They contain a strange power that even deters the White Lady from touching one. The Godseeker, however, is dumb enough to accept a flower from the knight. If the player does this, instead of Void being released out into the world, this flower pulls a no you, and the Godseeker and Void disappear into thin air. The flower itself
Pulls out the
is
Uno
described
reverse
as
card.
giving off a pale light, which appears to connect it to the pale beings. Like I said before, pale beings appear to be some form of top-tier gods. As of right now, we are only aware of two, the Pale King and the White
Yeah,
Lady.
either way, he
But
unifies
fact
the
that Zamir
void, but
brought
apparently
these
he does
pale
it even
flowers
better
from
in the other
faraway
ending.
land implies that there are definitely more of them out there. Another small hint of the existence of pale beings are the pale ore
I remember
items
the
that
whole
can be
giving
found
flowers
all
thing.
over Hallownest. Did these come from the Pale King, or possibly some other pale being? And what exactly are they? Are they poop? In general, the
Like I said, you
Godmaster
always seem to
endings appear
think
be
that.
doing a lot of setup for future Hollow Knight content. Like I said before, Hollow Knight Silksong doesn't seem to connect to these events on the surface, so we are in a bit of a bind when trying to discuss what
Yeah, that
these
was
endings actually
very early
mean
stage in its
for the
development,
greater
huh?
narrative Team Cherry is building. There's definitely a lot more to consider about what the Pale Beings are and what properties they possess. And we also have plenty of questions surrounding the Void and how bugs have interacted with it in the past. It almost feels like we are looking through a keyhole, trying to grasp onto the totality of Team Cherry's creation. How powerful are creatures like Bill and the worms? Where did things like the Void even come from to begin with? How much bigger is the world beyond Hallownest? Is Sparking
Infinite.
into butt stuff? But
Whoa!
of course, that's the appeal of a game like Hollow Knight. Having all of the answers to every question would just ruin the mystery of the world. Plus, if we didn't have questions like this
Midichlorians.
to waste our time on, then what else would we be doing with our lives?
Nothing.
Go outside?
Bleh.
Ugh. And so this video comes to an end. Now I know the average attention span of a YouTube viewer is 9 minutes, so let me leave you with a few takeaways. 1. Hollow Knight is a game about bugs. I know this may come as a shock, but it's true.
Oh
Watch the
yes,
video
we can
again,
hit his
and
butt
this
in another
time,
room. I
pay
remember that.
attention. You'll notice right away, I promise. 2. Murdering your own babies might not be such a good idea after all. I mean, this is obviously just my interpretation of the game's lore. Other people might have different views on the subject of murdering babies, and every opinion is
Maybe.
valid, so I don't want to step on anyone's toes or anything. 3. Menderbug is fucking dead. 4.
Doesn't have to be.
Nothing is certain. This video probably has a few flaws in it. Trying to construct a cohesive narrative with the information found in Hollow Knight.
I'm surprised he
isn't
put it together
exactly
as well as he did.
straightforward. I'm sure my views will change in the future, and I encourage you to explore the lore yourself.
And then after Silksong, he
5.
can make the actual
And
complete
this last
lore of
point
Hollow
is
Knight.
fairly obvious, but I should mention it anyway. Cory in the House is the best anime.
I miss when that was a meme that people still use. This is such a blast from the past. This is from like 2020. And that meme was around like way back. It was still going strong for a while. Oh yeah, the old Matt Pat video. Rest in peace. uh, you're ready. Really? No. You can DM me the Carbet video, but I'm probably too tired. I gotta sleep. I got home from work at like 6 o'clock and just passed out of my chair after making the thumbnail for like 20 minutes. And that was, yeah, that was about 6-7 hours ago. But hey, we did it. This ended up being a reaction stream for the last hour and a half, but we beat Expedition 33 in its totality. We platinumed it. I don't know if I was going into this with the intention of platinuming the game, but I did it anyway. 30 streams, man. If only we could have been slightly slower and done 33, but maybe some other time. Now Naomi needs to watch the VOD. I'm sure she will. To be a bit attached to Silk Song, at least. Yeah, good point. She saw some of it, at least. Let's see how much more she needs to see. Yeah, now next time, just watch videos through Discord, apparently. Because Brave sucks. Although, in this case, there were no ads. So I don't know if Mossbag turned the ads off. Or what, but... Maybe I'll just log into a private window on Firefox instead. Because I'm logged into my other channel on Firefox, and I'm on the gaming channel on Brave, so I don't have to swap between them. I know, it's not Brave sucking, it's possibly YouTube being butthurt about ad blockers, maybe. It could be that. I think I notice it sometimes lags even when I'm not streaming. So if so, then that would probably be the case. Act 3 is tight. Now I can finally watch that. It came out right after I saw the other two parts. Like the same day. Well, I guess that's gonna be it for now, everybody. But hey, thank you for watching. And make sure to hit like if you haven't already. It helps out a lot. I really appreciate it, you know. Only takes about a second. And it helps push YouTube's algorithm, because YouTube doesn't care to send anything to anybody unless people actually interact. I heard recently that they've started deprioritizing views and watch time even more so, and they're like, you have to like and comment or I'm not going to show anybody. Because YouTube just hates everyone, don't they? Not enough that someone just watches and enjoys. No, they have to actually interact with it. Pretty lame. Pretty lame. But YouTube making good decisions challenge, difficulty impossible. So yeah, like and subscribe, as they said in the ancient tablets. But next week we can play Silk Song. What should I play Silk Song on? Console or PC? I think I played Hollow Knight on console, didn't I? But that was a different time. PC? PC it is. I see no harm in that. Yep, hope you enjoy the video, Tay. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll catch you next week. Whichever, I would go with PC because that's literally the only platform I use. Yeah, I'll go with PC. Modding potential and other such details. Where did we pay today? 9? It dropped to 3 at one point, like exactly at 12. What happened there? Lightning struck the transmitter. Is going to be in the thumbnail? You bet. You bet your bonnet. I don't know what that means, but also, saw all the memes of Hornet with Peter Parker. No. Oh gosh. I didn't know Spider-Man was going to be in the game. Well, this has great potential application for me. And I'm sure Naomi would be excited as well. Immensely. I've kind of not seen a lot of the memes around Silk Song, which I guess is kind of a good thing in some regards, but oh. This is where I watched my parents die, Raphael. That's the original anyway. Get good. This replies, get good. I gotta put the get good sound back on the board. Yeah, oh well, I'm gonna eat a snack and then go to sleep. So, once again, thank you everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the Expedition 33 playthrough. It was a whole lot of fun. Great times were had by all. Oh, looks like Mother Die, Peter. Pizza time. Even works in both ways. Or is that the only way? Don't know. But, oh well. Thanks again, everybody. But till we meet again, I'll catch y'all in the next live stream. Later. Thanks, Dad. Come on, let me hear it.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Alright, catch you around. Jazz, Dan, Panic maybe, Pinko if you're still here, and everyone else out there in video land. Hope to catch you later. But for now, outro, engage. Ending, go.